Hello and welcome to the pilot episode of a brand new Dungeons & Dragons themed podcast that I'm tentatively calling the Champions of Virtue. It'll probably change later. My name is Derek, I am the Dungeon Master, and I wanted to do this introduction to, one, thank you for listening, just at the outright, and to set up a few things as a primer before the actual recording starts. One of the first things is to lay out a rough schedule. If this becomes a thing, more or less, it'll be released more than likely twice monthly, probably on a Tuesday or Wednesday-ish. So this is going to be the pilot, and it's going to be left out as a test to see if people will want to continue listening. If you do want to continue listening, thank you. That's amazing. And if you do want to keep listening, please let us know by leaving likes on the YouTube channel, by using the hashtag champsofvirtue on Twitter. Other than that, I just want to say thank you for listening. And before the podcast actually starts, I wanted to get a few things out of the way. The first thing is that this is a pilot in many respects. This is not going to be a perfect recording. This is a test of equipment. This is a test of our players. This is a test of me. And there's going to be little things and flubs. The audio is slightly inconsistent. There's going to be small little noises because we like to eat snacks. And if you do manage to stick through it and listen all the way, I think this is a very good session to record, personally speaking. And I believe you're going to have a good time listening to it. One more thing before we actually go in is just a quick primer of what's actually happening and the characters involved. So, as for the characters, there are Damaris, the half-elf paladin, Kindra, the half-elf ranger, Lau, the drow druid, Flank Ironstake, dwarven barbarian, Callista, the tiefling rogue, John, the human bard, and Rogar, the dragonborn sorcerer. Rogar unfortunately could not make it to this recording, but he will be in future recordings should they so happen. Now for the story. Really quick primer. Our 7 players were tasked to find 6 stones of virtue, which unlock 6 shrines of virtue. Once all 6 are unlocked, the players become the hashtag champions of virtue. Hashtag champs of virtue. Currently, our players have 3 stones of virtue and have unlocked 2 shrines of virtue. It is at this point where we find our players on the road toward the next shrine or the next stone, and we'll see what happens right now. You return back to the inn where you're staying, and that's where we start off now. It's morning. It's a very brisk and slightly chilly morning. What's up? You're up and going.
Gotta work out.
Didn't even ask. What are you guys doing?
Work out.
Alright, John, you spend just crack of dawn, you're awake, you're busting out you do the Batman thing, you stand up out of bed and just completely plank and hit the ground and start doing push-ups.
I've done the clap ones too.
Yeah. Just up, clap, down, up, clap, down, up, clap, down.
Can I roll for that to see if I could hear it above me and I get pissed off and I like...
In this current situation, you are in an adjacent room.
Damn it.
So you just hear clap, thud, clap, thud, clap,
Wait,
thud.
what if I'm just
Who's
like,
going
oh
at it
god.
this early?
I know, I was like, oh please god, please don't be masturbating, please don't be masturbating.
Yeah, you're woken up at maybe 6-ish in the morning, and all you hear is just clap, bang, clap, thud, clap, thud, clap, thud.
Is someone making pancakes?
Can I like...
Kendra, who's dancing? Everyone's like, who's dancing? Who's masturbating? Who's
Guess we're
making
getting up early.
At this juncture, I think because Callista is the only one who's adjacent to John, she can hear it.
Can I tell him to stop jerking his meat, perhaps?
How do you want to do that?
Actually, let me toss something at him. Can I toss a book at him or something?
Well, you're in adjacent rooms.
You could bang on the wall.
Oh, okay, yeah. Can I do that?
Get a broom.
Yeah. So, John, as you're working out, you just hear from the wall separating you.
Stop jerking off!
No.
And yeah, you hear this lull of silence, and then No. Clap, thud, clap, thud, clap, thud.
Where
Okay,
am
can I like
room wise?
So it's kind of back to back. It's kind of like side by side rooms and like a single hallway. So it's John, Callista's next to him, Kendra is next to her, Lau is next to Kendra, and then on the other side, it's across from Lau is you.
Okay.
Next to you is Rogar, and next to Rogar is Damaris. So you are across from Callista.
Yeah, that's
Most likely that would have been. I would have heard that.
No.
Got it.
can I like okay, can I
I'm gonna go at breakfast.
Okay, you're just up.
I get up early.
Yeah, as you wake up normally,
I hear the yelling.
you don't hear what the cause of the yelling is. You just hear Callista yelling for a
I'm
second.
just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
okay, can I open my door and I'll like try
Yeah.
to knock down his door?
You both exit your rooms at the same time, so you run into each other since you're across from each other.
Having a good morning so far?
I'm gonna try to stop John from jacking off.
Okay, you have fun with that. I'm going to breakfast.
The credits roll. This is clearly a normal everyday thing.
Yeah, I ain't gonna get in the way of that.
Okay. I slam on his door.
Alright, John, you're interrupted after your like 65th push up.
Please! It's 6 in the morning!
But dude, you gotta do something, you know? We're busy during the day, so gotta do it early.
And then you just hear clap.
Why the clapping? Why the clapping?
Clap.
You
Just-
The fucking
He's
hat.
applauding himself.
Because I long for validation.
Oh my god, just do it in the lobby then.
Just down in the tavern.
Can I go into a handstand and then just be like, open the door and then just clap?
How can you do a handstand
No, he
and
needs to roll for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you do an acrobatics check for that one. Let's see, that's +1 to acrobatics. That's a 3, so that's a 4.
Eat shit.
It's too early.
You get into the handstand position, but as you try and walk toward the door, you kind of start leaning toward the door, and so Callista, on your end, you just hear like this dun dun and bang up against the door and a thud, the sound of a falling body after they bang on the door. John, you like go from a vertical handstand position to a 45-degree angle hitting the door and then just collapse.
Is there another person in there?
Groggily, you just open the door and you see Callista there. Callista, you got a smile on your face. You know he just ate shit.
That's funny. That's quite humorous. Karma's a bitch.
Karma? What are you, Karma Police or something?
Karma police.
Karma.
Karma chameleon.
Karma chameleon.
Please stop that ruckus.
Can I like do some breakdance moves and then just walk away?
What?
Sure, do another acrobatics check.
Safety dance.
That's an 11, so you get off moderately okay. You have a small limp because you feel like a bruise kind of building on the back of one of your heels that hit the door
Did
and
he
you're
take
falling.
damage?
No. You got finger guns?
That's a fucking
Yeah,
fun.
figure out that.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So nothing.
Yeah, so Callista, you just see John like do like a little spin. He kind of limps for a second, and then he just finger guns his way downstairs. Damaris, you see coming down the stairs. You just hear like snap, 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 and you see John doing finger guns,
And
pointing up
walking.
the stairs and walking down the stairs.
Did they just?
I go back to sleep.
Okay, Kendra, Lau, Flank, what are you guys doing?
Well, considering it's still stupid early, I'm just kind of gonna sit up in bed and just read for a little bit till I get hungry and go eat breakfast.
Okay.
I'll
Yum,
go
yum,
get
in my
breakfast.
tummy.
I want a sweet roll or a croissant or something.
Okay.
In what position did I fall asleep in last night?
What the fuck?
And where in the room am I sleeping?
69.
You're 69ing yourself. No, you're
What a feat.
make a Constitution check.
Why?
Is Flank still drinking as
Yeah.
much, or is he
It
kinda...
depends if you've been drinking.
Have you been?
It's like an automatic. If I haven't used my decanter at all, I would be drinking
Okay.
at the end of each session.
I thought Flank was quitting.
Yeah.
Woo! Quitting? 18.
Quitting. How dare you?
Flank's not quitting.
18. So
What's a cute
despite your nights of drinking, you wake up not covered in your own vomit, not drooling excessively. You're pretty much just in your. I mean, do you normally sleep in the nude? Then you're in your normal nude self. Just the blanket's kind of half on you. You wake up. You're
Did we forget to?
you're a bit at attention because it's cold.
I figured the beard like sensors down there like just enough.
Yeah, I'm kind of like Cousin Ed, except you can see the top part of my head. Little arms sticking
But
out.
otherwise, yeah, you wake up fine. The clamber of John and Callista wakes you up slightly, but you're more or less awake at this point and not hungover.
Oh, good. No vomit this morning. I don't have to bathe for a few more days.
Oh.
Gee whiz. I should get breakfast, but
He showered yesterday, right?
Yes,
But,
2 days prior.
Yeah,
You were all
'cause we all
bathing.
took baths.
Yes.
Okay.
You were all bathing.
2 days is not bad.
I put on my usual rags.
You put on your trousers, your shoes. You have new armor. You kind of wear lightly. It feels it's
Well,
still
am I just in love with it? Just like, I love my new armor. I gotta wear it everywhere. I gotta wear it to bed. Gotta wear it downstairs for breakfast.
You've gotten a little bit used to it.
I mean,
Over
does
the-
Damaris go downstairs in his full plate for breakfast?
It-
Yeah.
At this point, yes.
Last time I took my armor off and went outside anywhere, I almost died. So.
When did that happen?
Fair enough. Okay.
All the time?
Yeah.
Werewolves.
Oh.
I adorned my typical usual garb of full battle dress and proceed downstairs for breakfast.
You don't wear anything.
He wears armor
I
now.
wear armor now.
Oh, I thought you were just one of those like barbarians, just like I'm fixed it.
Nikki.
He's a fighter technically now.
Yeah, that used to be what I, but I hung
The
out.
new flank wears armor.
Yeah. No one's gonna cut off my nips.
Flank 2.0.
So the rest of you make it downstairs for breakfast. I think it's pretty much just like oat porridge. There's some sweet rolls, hot tea. Some people are having their morning whiskey.
Some people.
Not me.
You had some in real life.
Good morning, Damaris.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lau.
Good morning. You look
Are you
different.
Nikki?
You look different.
You got dressed.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh my god, did they come down naked?
He would have thought about it.
Quite perceptive of you, Lau. No vomit.
Good job. I'm proud of you.
It feels good to have breakfast while I have the crusty bits of my beard falling in my soup.
Ew, yucky.
Well, I think I'm done.
You just look at the like slightly thick like oat porridge, small lumps, and it's like push it away.
I just have a croissant like halfway in my mouth, just like. Just
Very like you can see the frowny face despite having a small a round of bread in his mouth. You still see like the frowny face looking at you.
I proceed to drink the porridge in my usual fashion, which probably makes it look like I got creamed all over my beard.
You got some chunks in the beard. You got some oat chunks.
Okay, so that's where I am right now.
Okay. Kenja, you're sitting at everyone with breakfast as well.
While I'm eating, I take out that really old map that I just bought, and I kind of try to like lay it out and just like look at it while I'm eating.
Okay. Yeah, this seems to be a very old map. Like even as you fold it out, the creases are so ingrained into it that you feel like if you tug hard enough, it'll tear. at the folds. The map seems to be written in a mostly common script. It's kind of an old common with bits of Elven kind of strewn around in it. And it seems to be a map that, while it is the shape of the country you're in, the names aren't quite right. They're different names to areas.
Oh shit. War happens, and then people like to change their names after war happens.
Remember how we called ourselves the Kingdom of
getting real.
Badassness? Let's call ourselves Let's Not Fight Anymore, friends.
Shit's getting real.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, this you kind of start assuming where you are in the area, and
Yeah, where are we?
you're in Forsen.
I don't know.
But on the map, it says that this place is called Trinsic. Trinsic.
For me, not really.
Intrinsically.
Oh my god, that'd be a cute name for me.
Aw.
My last name is Trin.
The country itself is, it says on the bottom right corner, it's like in mostly Elven and Old Common script, it's the land of Sosaria. Sosaria. There's other places there, places such as Minnoc, Minoc, Stonegates, Pause, Pause. It's all over the map, and it's indicative of how old this map is. Since from what you've heard of the history of Rolindor is at least 500 to 700 years old.
Like, pause the game. Minnoc?
Do any
So
of
sorry.
these places sound familiar to me?
Sorry, I like
Make a history check.
Not you. Please, God, let me.
Hold on, what is it?
Well, I'm not meeting her. 5.
What's the check for? Recognizing
I was
something?
seeing if I recognize any names.
So none of these names sound at all familiar to you. These seem like
Kendra, could I borrow that map?
it's spread out on the center of the table, so you're all looking at it to some extent. It's not enormous, but it's about maybe.
I want to take it to my father.
Do any of us have the current map? Maybe we could cross compare.
Rorar has one,
Oh, okay.
and yeah, it's. I think I don't know if he still has the book or if he had it written down at some point, but he does have a map, and it's the shape of the country is more or less similar. The borders of the old map are slightly smaller.
Is there anything that's like vastly different, like a patch of land that was in the old map that's not in the current map? Something.
Make an investigation check.
My father is old and elvish.
Investigation 9. 8.
There doesn't seem to be any major landmarks that are entirely different.
Can I check that?
Sure, you'll be the last one though.
Should.
It's like, well, there's a
Oh
whole
my God. 8.
Give me that.
No, same thing. Outside of perhaps the forests are drawn a little bit different. The city location and sizes are a little different, but otherwise there are no major landmarks or structures that are glaringly apparent to you in this old map.
For you guys listening, I want you to know that I rolled 2 fucking 3s in a row.
Yeah, I fucking saw Kev annihilated.
Am I
I'm
able
cursed
to-
with 4s and 3s.
Am I able to make sense of maps?
As much as anyone else.
Good. Do I recognize anything?
We already had 2 checks.
I want to
Okay.
take the map to my dad.
Okay.
I could also take the map to my mom. as well.
Luckily they're both in the same place.
Yeah.
So if you want to go do that after breakfast.
Yeet.
Okay.
My dad's old and he knows shit.
So does my mom.
Okay. So you finish your breakfast as much as you can stomach after watching Flank eat.
I'm already done. As soon as Flank came downstairs, I was
You know what? I've
done.
seen worse things. I'm gonna take another sweet roll on the road for the road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you,
but it's
you,
not
you,
chunky.
you just grab a couple sweet rolls, you put them in like your coat pocket.
But wow, they're not. It's not chunky soup.
The rest of you, Callista, you wake up, you come down for breakfast a little later than everyone else. So probably by about maybe 8 o'clock, 8:30, you're out the door, you make your way, helicopter. Outside, it's still fairly early in the morning and it's still kind of chilly. The breeze makes it colder. The sun is partially blocked by clouds passing by these large stone gray
Does
clouds.
it look like it's gonna rain?
Make a nature check.
There's literally a rain cloud over your head if you roll a 2.
If you roll a 1, you're just struck by lightning.
8.
Oh my god! That scared me. I thought it was a 1.
At a cursory glance, doesn't seem like it. It's just cold.
Okay.
And there are patches of sky still available. But even the sky is not a vibrant blue. It's a very mottled gray. So the sky is just varying shades of gray at this point.
Just saying, dude. I can call lightning.
What's up?
50 different ones, would you say?
Yes, sure. Fuck off.
He's so proud of himself. Sorry.
You make your way up the hill. You notice that the grass is slowly changing from green to brown. The trees are changing color. They're almost all changed now to shades of orange and yellow. Very small amounts of very light green.
Just saying, you guys don't have tents, and you should probably buy some soon. 'Cause I'm the only one that's got one, and I ain't sharing.
I turn into a bear,
Oh yeah, okay, you're fine.
but don't you want to share a tent with a bear?
No, maybe a cat.
Okay. Alright, I'm good.
Okay, Lau can share my tent.
But fur, like, cuddle with a bear.
My tent's not that big.
Get a bigger
What about
one.
a black bear?
Yeah, I can turn to 2 kinds of bears. The black bear is the smaller one.
What about a teddy bear?
Those are okay.
Those aren't alive.
Aw.
They
Don't
are
make
in
me
my
sad,
heart.
Derek. I need to believe.
Me with my rows of stuffed animals judging me.
Yeah, they're right
Is
there.
that me?
So into the thieves den.
Yes. You make your way down the
drawing OC
Up.
smut. Blow my arms off.
up the hill,
It's a-
overlooking the cliffside. The sea is the same color as the sky, but slightly darker. The waves, crashing white sea foam, contrast with the deep dark blue of the water. Even at a distance, high up on a cliff, you can feel the cold spray of mist as it crashes up against the stone. But you make your way down the secret hatch, downstairs into the cave, the cliffside cave of the thieves' den. There seem to be more fires burning right now. It's early, so not many people are awake. But you do, Damas, you do see your parents sitting. Your younger sister Lenore is just walking around,
Aw.
being kind of tacitly supervised. You only see her from the back, but it seems like there's something in her arms. Like her hands move like this.
Who?
Lenore.
What you got there, Lenore?
She turns to you, and her eyes are wide, and she's a big smile on her face, and she's like, she like holds this thing up, and oh, there's a squirrel outside.
Perfect timing.
But so she shows it off to everyone, and it would appear to be a very, a fairly large, dopey looking.
About the size of her.
It's about the size of her chest, so maybe about a foot long or so, a foot and a half. It mostly resembles a rabbit. Its fur is mostly brown. It has dark brown, almost black spots kind of down its back and its backside. Its ears are lopped down. They're shorter. They're not very long. They're more ovalish than like long ears. It's got these big, wide eyes, got a little twitching nose. But the most distinguishing thing about it is that it has what appears to be a horn sticking out of its forehead like a unicorn. About,
Blake's gonna fucking
about maybe
steal it.
2 or 3 inches long. It looks like it's got a white tuft on its chest.
Moogle really likes rabbits.
Yeah, I know.
You're not stealing from my baby sister.
You didn't know about
Can I turn into that?
If you spend some time with it.
Really?
Yeah.
With the actual creature or with the stuffed animal?
It's a live animal.
I know,
Yeah.
but
I knew he was
can
gonna
I
do
just
this
look at
shit.
Lenore's stuffed animal long enough to like?
No, she has a live one.
It's real.
Oh, it's real.
It is
Okay.
alive.
real.
I
It's
am
just-
gonna.
It's just lazy and kind of dopey and just.
May I attempt to turn into one right now? How does it
Make
work? How do
an
I?
Arcana check.
Oh
Am I,
no.
am I gonna turn into a fish on
Please don't get
accident?
stuck or something.
Arcana. Which one's that one?
She
And-
turns into a carrot.
Where did you get
I don't know.
that?
18.
Damn.
You kind of understand pretty easily. You don't get it quite right. You mostly just turn into a rabbit.
I probably have a bump on the head.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you're the same color and a fur of spots and
Am
everything.
I Mokonath from Clamp or something?
You
Or
just
like-
don't have the horn.
Okay.
You're just that rabbit
That's
shape,
okay.
just without the horn.
Doki doki! Something something. I'm Mokonath now.
We can slam a horn on you.
Okay, just
I'll
don't
just
slam
glue
it.
one on.
Yeah.
Alright, now I'm a fucking rabbit.
Damaris, you hear your mother say to you, it's like, your father was talking to some people from one of the ships that came in, and they happen to have this new thing. She kind of her eyes are kind of rolling at it.
I've never even seen these around here.
You see your dad. His eyes are beaming. He's got a big smile on his face. They call it an Almirage. It's come from one of the islands pretty far away. I don't know how they kept it alive all the way here, but supposedly it's not that high maintenance. You just feed it some grass every once in a while.
Are they pretty calm? It's just like it has a
Rabbits do
horn. I
this all
don't
the
want her to get hurt.
She's fine. I've let you play with horse when you were younger.
Yeah, well, I don't want you giving her knives.
Listen, you handle the knife just fine. She'll be fine with a
Her pet has a
dopey looking
knife.
thing.
Just put a
Thought
cork on the
loud
horn.
and
You-
permanently.
As you're talking, you see Lenore kind of like spinning around, and you see the legs kind of like pulling out.
I might be a little more worried about the creature.
You hear it make a very small noise. It's kind of like a.
Wank, back. How do
But it's not struggling. It's just like.
How do rabbits do this all the time? It's hurting me.
Your dad laughs. Your mother just kind of her head is in her hands.
Well, congratulations on the new pet.
I figure if we're going to leave,
Are you
if
okay?
there are going to be times we need to leave her somewhere, and she has a friend now. Well, it seems fine.
How long
I see your dwarven friend seems to be taking a liking to it, and your elven friend has already gotten the shape down pretty much. You turn, you see, you don't see Lau, you just see a hornless version
Oh.
of the Almirage.
You learned that really quick.
Those bastards sure multiply.
There's only so
fast.
much a rabbit can do. I'm gonna do a binky. Yeah! Woohoo!
You just jump, flip down,
Suddenly breaks back.
snaps own spine.
I'm gonna turn back. There's no need for me to
Okay.
stay in this shape.
I look at Dammers. I want a pet.
Okay. Go get one.
I love that he tells it to you.
Yeah, like I'm not your father.
You kind of,
Oh,
you kind of act like
I don't
one.
want to be.
It's a more polite way of saying than a busybody.
I think I'm younger than him.
You are.
You're definitely
By like
younger.
30 years.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
He doesn't know how elves age.
I'm racist. I think all elves are older than me by like a century or so.
I'm older
I am.
than you.
While you're talking, you call down for drinks and you sit and chat with your family for a little while.
Drinks at 7 a.m.
8
8
a.m.
a.m.
Pumpkin spice
It's
ale.
mostly teas and
Is that a thing? I don't know.
sweet wines, things like that.
Pumpkin
Derek,
spice.
is there pumpkin spice ale?
Are you just drinking
It's
fire
fall. We got pumpkin spice.
fuck?
If you
off.
ask for it, you gotta ask for it.
I'm gonna ask for it.
I want to
How
try
do
it.
you ask?
Lau's gonna learn to be a basic bitch.
Can you add some pumpkin and spice to this?
You see one of the barmaids coming up. She's bringing some drinks. Like, is there anything else I can get for you?
Do you have a pumpkin spiced ale?
She kind of looked at you for a second.
Can you kind of fall special?
Is there a secretive menu?
The white gummy
My fair
bear.
maiden.
I'm just asking about pumpkin
She-
spiced ale.
She looks at you, she's like, Miss Calista, I know who you are.
I know.
I
I know.
Let me ask Dawn for a second. And she goes back to the bar, and you assume Dawn, the bartender. You see her whisper into his ear. He kind of nods for a second. He's like, he kind of walks off. He brings this cask, a small wooden cask, about maybe 2 feet long or so. It's a small barrel. He pops it open. He pours out this very dark liquid. It froths up slightly as it pours. She brings over 2 or 3 mugs of it. She sets it down. She's like, Don says he's been working on this one. He hasn't been ready to try it out on anyone yet. But it is a fermented pumpkin ale of some kind. I don't know about the spices, but it's made from pumpkins. It smelled okay when I was bringing it by.
I will gladly be your guinea pig.
It's 2 copper apiece.
I'll try one
Okay.
too. I'll try one too.
Okay, so that's the 3. So 1 to Callista, 1 to Kendra, and 1 to Lao. So are you gonna drink it,
Yes.
Yes.
Callista?
Yeah.
And then everyone does.
Make a Constitution save.
Really? Does
Oh,
even have that much
boy.
alcohol?
Kendra, please.
Oh, sorry.
That's a 6.
I
I got 6.
12 roll. Huh?
Use that one.
No, I'm already like, I don't know. 16.
Okay.
Life is
You can the actual taste of alcohol is not very strong in this, despite its dark color. It does have a very pumpkin-y flavor, almost like not quite sweet, more like just the pumpkin itself, like almost kind of a squash flavor. It's got a nice bitterness to it. It's very smooth. It's more or less enjoyable. It's not quite as sweet as you'd like.
That's why I'm eating a sweet roll.
Yeah. But otherwise, Lau, you seem to be having the most time with it because the combination of the sweet roll and the slightly more rich, bitter ale is a good combination. For you, it's like,
Have a sweet roll. Eat it with the sweet roll. It is amazing.
and it is astounding. It is a good combination.
Bless.
The barmaid kind of looks at you, it's like, so, how'd you like it?
You should make it a little bit sweet.
I'll tell Don that. Would anyone else like one?
No, I'm fine. Thank
Okay.
Can I hang out with Lenore?
It's
Yeah, you're just with Lenore at this point.
I
Just-
must say it is quite spicy and pumpkiny.
I'm glad you enjoy it, miss. And then as she leans over to kind of pick up some odds and ends, Calista, she leans over to you and you hear her whisper, Miss Chandra would like a word with you if you have a chance.
Oh no, be gone. Yeah, okay.
You should be gone, your thoughts.
The,
That's what she was saying.
the rest of you enjoy your drinks.
Oh my
You spend time
God,
with your family for a
no.
little while. You try and you see Flank not quite leering or staring at Lenore, but paying rapt attention to not necessarily her, but to the Almirage.
I'm watching them both very closely.
She seems to be fine. She's not treating it roughly, but she's a small child. She's just hugging it. She kind of sets it down for a little bit. It does a few hops. She picks it back up again. Just keeps doing that over and
Just
over.
imagine her holding like a really big cat, just like
Yeah.
dangling
Yeah,
there.
just one of those really lazy cats that you just cannot piss off no matter what you do.
I'm gonna love you and squeeze you and hold you and love you forever.
Callista, you walk off and you're
Oh my
escorted to the office of Diana.
She by herself?
Yes,
Okay.
by herself.
I replied.
At the office, At the office, you see that your mother Diana is still not there, and it's your ex
I'm a bounce.
ex-girlfriend Chandra. She's sitting there. Normally she is fairly hot-headed. Her hair is having shocks of white, contrast with this very vibrant red. But she looks tired. She looks very. She has lines under her eyes. Looks like she hasn't been sleeping well. Circled around the desk are just bottles of, you assume, whiskey or something.
Oh my god, I'm a bounce.
She kind of looks at you. She smiles like, I was wondering when you get back.
Oh. Hello?
You can see she's trying just to like present herself.
How's it going? I give her like a, not a wink, but like a finger guns. Hey! Where's my mom?
And just immediately her like smug smile just drops and kind of slumps in her chair and she's like, your mother.
Is she dead?
That's so funny. If it happened.
Fingers crossed.
Right.
She went off to one of the northern towns to discuss some business with someone there. And that was 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
She hasn't come back. And I don't know. We didn't know where she was. I didn't tell anyone.
Oh my god, do I have to do my own side mission now?
And
It might
then
be that she's just having a really great time.
we
Yeah, maybe she met someone.
Found a
Settle
good
down,
casino.
Had a change of heart.
Oh, that doesn't sound right.
and a week ago we received a note. And she slides over this note to you, and on the back, what appears to be a skull with what appears to be a almost tendril-like tree.
Is it the
Right
same
at the
mark
side.
as Rogar?
No.
Okay.
Do I know this
Just
mark?
checking.
No, it's
Make
like a
it-
spider.
You
make a
kicked the
history
log,
check.
so.
13.
You recognize the symbol, but the name of the group that it's associated with kind of evades you.
Have we seen this marking before?
You're
like
alone.
anywhere else? Huh?
It's just
You're
you.
alone.
Oh, no, Sandra.
Oh, are you talking to her?
Yeah, like, have we actually seen this before, or have we come across these people?
She looks at us like, yes.
Sombra online.
She's tired. They're called the Root Stalkers.
Root stalkers.
They're out westward toward Briarden. I don't think we've met them personally, but I knew Diana was working with them for a while. Not working, keeping an eye on them.
Looks like she met them personally.
Wait, how did this happen? Like, did she not have anyone go with her, or
It was-
she alone?
It was a small party, and from what I
A
hear,
small party? Like you guys escorted her with a small party?
you know her. She doesn't like big parties. And this was routine. We didn't think anything of it, especially since the Root Stalkers we believed were taken care of.
Wait, no. Who was with her? Like, who'd you guys send?
Danik, Crawl.
Do I know any of these?
You just recognize them as just kind of like higher ups.
Who the fuck?
I forgot. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, you just recognize them as slightly higher ups. Very well trained.
How much? Wow, that's hilarious. That's so much money. Okay,
But we know where we have an idea where she is. But the problem is that they'll recognize a lot of us, and I can't tell anyone.
can I could probably do something about this, but
You want to come talk to us?
Do you
about
want to?
yeah, I should.
Like Chandra looks at you, and you see as you sit down on the opposite her, you see that her eyes are just very like you thought they were tired from a distance. They are at this point almost sunken.
Oh,
She's just looking like,
Don't
I
look,
tried.
Imagine.
don't look
the
that way.
favor that she would owe us.
I'll fix it. I'll do something about it.
She'd be in our debt.
Listen, I know things were not to your liking here, but
Yeah. It's you don't have to explain yourself. I'll do the job. I'll try to find her.
She nods.
Is there anything in her desk or anything I could use?
She kind of looks around.
100,000 poison.
I can tell you what I know of the root stalkers
Okay.
and what she's told me, which is not too much, but enough. They were a fairly small time group, around maybe 150 people.
Oh, okay.
They operated out of Briarden. Briarden was a small village, but after some event, I don't know, it was a long time ago, the city was more or less abandoned. So they took over and used it as a sort of, for lack of a better word, black market. Things were civil between us. We didn't cause any trouble, and we even worked with them sometimes. They had some good things. And then Diana caught word that they were selling more than just things. They were selling people.
Oh.
And mostly children.
Oh, child labor? That's a new low.
Bitches, bro.
Child slavery.
Labor at best. From what we've heard, it was mostly girls.
I'm already hearing
Ooh.
this going
Oh,
slaves.
I'm fucking people up.
That's
Right, you guys
terrible.
can't hear this.
I know.
That's
I know.
terrible. I had no idea.
So Diana took it upon herself.
Why didn't she
to-
tell me?
Maybe she didn't want you to get involved.
The one time she doesn't want me to get involved in something. What a fucking, what a incredible discovery.
I don't know why
Truly.
she didn't want you involved with this. But
Meanwhile,
over the
while playing
course-
with a bunny.
She has a chance to do some good and she chooses not to get me involved.
I don't know why. She does things. She knows she does things. She thinks she knows best.
Very stupid things, like going alone, like with a small group with 150 people involved.
I told
Quite
her.
ridiculous.
Well, over the last maybe 3 or 4 years, that number had been whittled down to, from last we heard in reports, maybe a year ago.
She was always so
take.
careful.
But as of about a year ago of our last reports, there are only about 10 left. And we've taken care of the rest.
10. I find that hard to believe, but
I
I shall take care of it.
I've heard they're good, but we didn't think they were that good.
Root stalkers. They sound like potato raiders.
So the Briarden was the place that they were associated with, and it
Yes.
was like an old thing. Is that place on my map?
You'll have to talk about it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You don't know about that.
No one else know this, right?
No, just you.
Oh, as we're
No, I'm
talking,
asking her.
as we're talking, very, very few.
Like who?
Need to know
You, me, and from what I've heard, Don, the bartender, because
Okay.
you do know he's actually fairly high up in the group,
Yeah, of course.
and
Bartender does everything.
yes, and that's about it. Because if this word gets out, I'm dead.
Okay.
There's going to be a power vacuum, and everyone is going to kill each other.
Okay. Yeah, that's no problem. The only thing I'm not gonna tell anyone besides my group if I truly want to like help her out.
Please keep this quiet. It won't just.
I can't do that anymore. But I could tell you for certain they won't tell anyone else.
I can only hope that.
I-
As long as it doesn't.
You don't
As long
worry.
as, long as
gonna
it.
believe it
I'm
now.
not in any.
We don't have any other friends. It's okay.
I'm not.
We are all each other's friends.
I'm not in any moods to have like anyone's blood on my hands, so don't worry.
She takes your hand in yours, and you recognize this feeling.
No.
You recognize this feeling of her hand in yours, and it sparks
Yay.
something.
No, it doesn't.
A memory. As much as you
Doki
try to
doki.
fight it.
Hey, his face. Doesn't
Yeah.
she look like Rihanna?
Doki doki suda.
Holy fuck.
You two lock eyes for a second, and again, memories.
It
Yes,
looks like
I know.
Rihanna. It looks like
It's
Rihanna.
really.
Sorry.
I'm just like.
You try to pull it back as much as possible, And then you
I'll
two
do,
let go.
Yeah, I'll make sure she's okay. I'll do whatever I can. Just don't breathe a word of this to anyone. that I'm helping. So just pretend. Just say whoever asks where we are. Just tell them that we're obviously like
It's under control.
It's under control.
It'll just be between us.
Okay. Goodbye. I
Just
leave.
like old times.
Just
My-
nopes out, like, no.
Yeah, just as quick as you can, you're out.
Fuck.
You make it
no.
back, and while this is happening,
I'll show my dad the map.
okay, your turn. So that conversation is going on in this context, you show your dad the map. Your dad looks it over. And is like, where did you get this?
A very old antique shop.
I didn't think there'd be anything like this.
Do you recognize it?
Some of the names. This is old even for me, but I recognize some of the larger names. I remember Cesaria. That was in some of the old books in the family library. I remember. Let's see. I remember Trinsic. I remember these things. I've never been to them. I don't know anyone who has, but there are records kept.
How old is this? Like, when did they... Like, I don't recognize any of these names.
How old is that again? He's like middle-aged, right? Right now.
Yeah.
So around,
Couple.
yeah, maybe the 250
He's a
mark,
male.
250, 300 mark.
Yeah.
It's like he looks at it. This is way before my time. I believe I had a grandfather talk about this. The Cesaria, the land. I doubt that name has been spoken in nearly 1,000 years.
Is there anything that you don't recognize here? As, like,
Most-
compared to now?
I don't see any major differences. None noticeable. The capital's in a different place. The Elven is old. This is an old writing style. But I recognize it. Otherwise, no, I don't. It looks about as accurate as I could imagine it. But I don't know.
Figured if anybody knew, it would be you.
You could perhaps ask my father. But you'd have to go to
That's
great.
really far
You would
away.
have to go through great lengths.
Yeah.
Are we listening? The rest of us here?
Yes,
Oh.
yeah. Except for Flank, who's mostly paying attention to the Almirage.
It'd be nice to see him again, but I think that is quite a trek just to show him a map.
Thank you.
We could maybe
You could send him my regards.
we could maybe visit the present like countries that things.
You've been to some of them.
Yeah.
This used to be Trinsic. He kind of points to the areas. Stonegate. Where the area Stonegate is more or less where the capital Dol Horan is today. Stonegate is slightly smaller and a little bit off exactly, but it's about the same area. Some of the places you recognize some of the areas, but you haven't been to them. Pause, Minak, Fawn, things like that.
Okay. So we don't know the present equivalents of Cesaria.
Well, Cesaria is the country, which was pretty much Rolindor, but slightly smaller. You recognize, a handful of them. The city of Fawn was at some point, but otherwise, there doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary with this map. But your dad looks, he's like, I suppose if you can get to the Feywild, you can talk to the family.
Yeah, that's an option.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Nope. Not considering it.
How
Not
far is it?
considering what?
The Feywild is another plane of existence.
Oh. So it's like
It's
your grandpa's in a retirement home.
It's
Or
more
great-grandpa.
like this family has left
Yeah.
the
yeah.
hometown.
So he's recommending that we go see your grandpa who is in the Feywilds to get information on the root stoppers.
on
No,
the
this is
map.
the map.
On the
Oh,
map.
on the map. Okay.
On old times.
Okay. I'm just clarifying what's happening right now while I'm getting
Yeah, there's a few things happening.
Yeah, we don't know about the root stalkers yet because she's still having a
Still
conversation in
gonna
a
make
different
this
room.
funny. Yeah. Potato raiders. That's how I think of it.
Super dubers.
As much as I would love to see my grandfather again, I don't quite want to go visit him there.
I can certainly understand.
You have to die to go there or something? You have to die to go there? Or is
No.
it just...
No, it's just it's a very different place.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he looks. He's like, I doubt you would find much favor there, nor would some of your friends. You see him eyeing. Wow, you see him eyeing you.
Yeah, it's not a good place.
We could whiteface him.
We're not going to whiteface the drow.
How would that work?
Covered in flour.
Flour? Oh, you mean baking flour?
Yeah.
And then there's just be an awkward moment where there's a splash of water that hits across your face. And they're like, oh, let me get that smudge for you.
I'm like shaking, calling for help.
Just turn into an Almirage and run.
Well, thank you.
Anytime.
why couldn't
He-
just turn into an animal?
Because it's a finite amount of time you can be an animal.
Oh.
And for a finite amount of time per day.
And they know magic in the Feywilds.
They might recognize it.
They'll clearly just see it's a drought.
Your dad you see his eyes kind of glance over to Lenore and Flank, and like, your friend seems to really like that Almirage.
I think he's been wanting a small companion. He tried to take a bush home.
And a rock. He has a rock.
He
Yeah,
keeps
it
a
was
pet rock
Yeah, he's got a pet rock.
named Tender.
He's an excellent warrior.
Why are you
I think
sharing
he's
this
lonely.
important information to our enemies? They can use it against us.
They'll take them
I'm letting
hostage.
them know your combat prowess because everything else, it's,
You don't know if
not
Flake
relevant.
likes Rogers. You're just basing that desire off of my personal desire to like
You've
rabbits.
been with the thing the entire time.
I'm intrigued by it. That is, it's small and fluffy like me.
You lost your shit when I showed you that picture.
I lost my shit. But I'm not saying Flank lost his shit.
Yeah, but Flank is still hanging out with it, so.
And Flank did.
Flank just likes hanging out with kids. Like in the non-creepy way.
I
Flank
just said
Did
so.
you get that, Mike? In a non-creepy way. Just need to make it clear. I got you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Flank is just a fucking idiot.
You found yourself with an interesting party.
I sure did.
He's an excellent warrior. He slayed a dragon.
Oh, I can't wait for the name. I
Huh?
can't wait to hear the party name.
Oh. We haven't come up with one. There are no Fiat Nux.
Nope. I hope not. Then our brand will be out of business.
Oh. Maybe we'll run you out of business.
Potato Raiders.
he, as he laughs, he kind of leans back, and you see just like his coat like slightly open. You see just knives hanging from inside the coat.
Knife finding, that's pretty good. They're
You wait,
expensive.
old man.
I hope the day comes. Speaking of which, where is your other friend, Diana's daughter? As you look around, you don't quite see her, but as you keep looking closer, that's when you walk in.
Okay.
She's over there.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, yeah.
Alright.
Speaking of the devil.
Looks like we have to go
Where are we going?
somewhere fun. Somewhere very spectacular.
I don't-
Somewhere out of this world. Now we have to go.
Okay, place?
Let's
Are
go.
we going to a festival?
The Fae place? It's out of this world.
No, we're not going there.
Is there anything else that you guys have to do? Anything here? We have to go.
Why is this so urgent?
We have to go. I just told you.
Something the matter?
Okay,
Let's go.
I guess we have to go.
We shall be back in a couple weeks. We have to go to
Couple
a
weeks?
festival.
Oh, the beer drinking competition.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think that.
Oh yes.
I know, I'm helping
as
her
per
lie.
the note,
Even though
the
she's
next full moon is in about 3 weeks.
Okay.
Wait, why are we in such a hurry?
We have to be. It's a festival. Remember that beer drinking festival? We have to go to that.
No.
That was
we
like
missed
a month
that.
ago.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's right. We rescheduled it.
Yeah.
I'm not done asking Lenore all my questions
I
about.
guess
It's a
I'm going
it's
for
a
a walk.
celebrate the
I
underdog.
slapped him and I'm like, we have to go, Blake.
I have so many questions. Lenore, what did you name it?
My dad obviously knows when people are lying. It's his job.
He's
I'm
just
a-
kind of looking. He's just like, you do what needs to be done.
Huh?
I don't interfere.
Okay, but
in
I'm
other
also
people's
an
business.
assassin too. I could
Do
easily.
you want to hold the map, or do you want me to hold on to it?
It doesn't matter. Let's just go.
Can you chill for 1 minute?
I want to hold it.
Okay, be careful with it. Apparently, this is very old.
Yeah.
All right. It was nice seeing you, little child Lenora. Have fun with that little demonic rabbit. Goodbye. What was his parents' name again? I forgot.
Glenn and
Goodbye,
Well,
Len.
and Ellen.
Mr. and Mrs. Damaris.
Goodbye, Flen and Eleanor.
Glenn.
I mean, Flem.
Oh,
Fell.
please don't call him Flynn.
Mel and Eleanor.
Fell. Goodbye. Nice seeing you all.
Alright,
I just
I guess
power
we'll
walk.
be back eventually, or
I should
if you're
certainly
here.
hope so. I hope you come soon. Lenore's birthday is in a couple months.
don't worry. It's not going to be a couple months.
That'd be the greatest subplot ever.
Okay.
So all of you immediately just pick up sticks and just leave.
Pick up.
Okay.
sticks.
Can we go to like a quiet little area or something?
Yeah.
And
So
I just
you
basically tell him like what
okay? So
Sandra told me.
okay. So you make it back toward. You probably just go back to your inn, but just go into your room. Just your
Yeah.
room.
I show him the message and I tell him what
It's
happened.
slightly tight. Yeah. So you hear the story of Diana going missing. A note of a group called the Root Stalkers. The note itself says, "We have your silver queen. We demand coin for blood. 5,000 gold for each life. You have until the next full moon." And then you see the emblem.
Do I recognize the emblem or the root stalkers from Travels?
No, but you do recognize the name Briarden.
Are you okay?
It's instantly like a shock in your head, and you remember the city because it was the closest city. You immediately remember as a small child just kind of walking around it. And then you remember that Briarden is maybe 20 miles away from home. Your father's house.
Get fucked.
Oh shit.
So wait. How did I recognize Briarden?
Because that's
she
the
said
that-
something about it?
yeah, that's where she said you have to go.
And that's near where to go. So, no offense, Callista, but why is this our problem?
Well, your parents might potentially be in danger as well.
But your mother runs a den.
Exactly. Guess who's involved in that then?
How does nobody else there? Like, how can none of them handle this? Isn't that kind of
Exactly. I told you, like, they just can't. No one else could know because
It's the idea of a power vacuum.
yeah. So if the higher up goes, then people just keep
It's gonna be
falling
a
down.
fucking free for all.
Yeah,
what an
exactly.
awful contingency plan they have.
Exactly.
What do you mean awful?
The leader gets held for ransom, and they can't even tell the rest of the den about it because they'll rip themselves apart instead of actually rescuing her.
We're the
Yeah.
contingency plan. We've been entrusted with this awesome job.
This is
'Cause we're awesome.
This is a thieves' den.
I am
not
completely dissociating right now. I'm just like, as soon as she said Briarden, I just like, gone.
Yeah, you notice during this argument that Callista not only has not Kendra has not only not said a word, has pretty much not blinked in the last couple of minutes.
I do this.
Yeah,
You alright?
like wow, from your perspective, it looks like she's in the elven trances that you go into in lieu of sleep.
Are you okay?
What?
Welcome back.
We might be going to Briarden.
And then back out. Her eyes just glaze over again immediately, and that's
the worst.
Okay.
Everyone
concerning.
involved in the thieves' den could be in danger. That's what I'm trying to say.
You know what? Good riddance. I hate their stupid dice frog. That dice frog.
I just didn't think
God.
you were particularly attached to your mother.
Well, she may be quite a handful to deal with, and she ruined my life a little bit. But I don't want anyone else to get like hurt, especially not your family.
That's fair. So how far is this wire in?
It's where did I put the map?
Where the map?
So out westward. It's about maybe 4 or 5 days by horse.
Well, no more boat rides at least.
I mean, it's close-ish to the coast. You could take a boat.
We have horses though.
So I kind of snap out of it. I'm just like, we have to go. We have to go there.
Okay. I mean, that was. I
Can
guess
we,
the
can we
plan.
go right now? Are we going right now?
Are you
Get our
okay?
horses first.
No, we're gonna walk.
Oh wait, whose horse is still were all of our mounts dead from the?
It was your horse that died,
It
right?
was John and Callista's horses that did it.
Okay, so Rogar's horse is fine.
Motherfucker, like-
Rogar and
and
Frank's
Flank's.
horse are fine.
Roach is still fine.
And then I
Yes!
have a horse. Okay.
And you are
Good
a horse.
Yes.
And he can make a horse.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We'll need to get horses then. Or did they?
Oh, we
we
made it
didn't
work.
get them.
We have 4. We can make it work.
Because someone can ride you.
Alright.
And then,
Yeah, anyone could ride.
Someone can
No,
ride
no,
with
you're
Sam.
yeah. Kendra didn't have a horse. She was riding with.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
She's
You
tiny.
have a horse, and then
Yeah.
someone rode with you, and then someone rode with
So,
you.
alright, so John and Callista, who wants to ride with Flank.
I'm riding on.
John's
Okay.
John's with Flank.
Yep, John, you're with
Sorry,
Flank.
nose goes.
You hit yourself on. You can still see he's got little chunks of oatmeal in the beard.
Ugh.
It's kind of cake. It's kind of cake.
Frank, have you named your horse?
Roach.
Oh my god, you're nasty.
Yeah, it's not good. It's like caked on. It's like kind of chalky.
Did you eat it?
Road.
But it was a bonding moment.
Why are you like this?
Wait, what did he do?
He ate the oatmeal. in
He
your
took a little
fucking
pick of oatmeal off his beard and just ate it, just not breaking eye contact, just eating
Power
up his
play.
oatmeal.
I think 16.
And then gets on the
just
horse.
read, Like.
Wait. No, he has to ride him back, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Alright. Fine. This is fine.
I guess
You
we're
rode
heading
behind him
out.
to be like a backpack or something.
Just
Nobody else
don't
bought a tent.
Yep.
don't grab onto my
So-
Fools.
So are y'all ready to head out?
I guess.
I want to buy a tent.
It would be wise.
You said we need to leave immediately.
Yeah, but
Sure.
Yeah, you're the one who wanted to leave like fucking within the first 10 seconds.
Kendra, you should get a tent. You don't fare well in the cold.
Perhaps.
no, you're right.
I mean, I bought her a cloak.
Yeah, but
It's
I mean,
helpful-ish,
Yeah.
it's no tent.
but it's cold and getting colder.
So we should at least get one tent.
What time of day is it right now? I guess.
Like noon.
Yeah.
11 o'clock noon.
So I guess we should like grab some rations and head out.
Yeah.
Supplies would be good. I like
Yeah.
supplies.
So you go to the local gear shop, which is mostly
CVS.
yeah, fantasy CVS.
Yes.
I like to inquire about a adhesive resin. Similar to what we may call glue.
Okay. You find someone working at the counter. She kind of looks at you. Is like, you paste.
I need to do some high bond sort of mending. My good lady? Person. I lift my elbow on the table in my most convincing manner possible.
Make a persuasion check.
What's he persuading?
Try and get glue.
Oh, why do you have to persuade? Just ask.
Go ask the stable.
Because he's dumb.
Don't ask. No. They don't make it there.
Like right here. Here's the hook. Make it
You
yourself.
just bring the horse. Hey, I need glue.
Oh, I got that at 6.
She kind of looks at you. Is like, okay. She like grabs like a little like ceramic pot of glue, about maybe a couple inches in diameter. It's got like a wooden top, and pulled off is like a brush, a glue brush, attached to the lid, like a silver piece.
So, may I sample the ware?
Are you gonna eat it here, or do you want to take it home?
No, I just want to put a little between my fingers to see how strong it bonds.
Okay. You take a little bit in your hands and just you rub it, and the more you rub it, the more you realize your fingers aren't actually moving, and they're just stuck.
Okay, let's say this is my left hand. Yeah.
Yeah, your left thumb and forefinger are just stuck.
Pretty good. Okay, let me get my.
Oh my god, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Okay, yeah, I pay up the 1 silver piece.
Okay, you get yourself a pot of glue. All right.
Do I see his hand stuck like that?
No, the rest of you are all shopping right now.
John, can you do the cleanup spell?
No one notices yet.
Oh.
Let's see if anyone wants anything in particular.
I want a tent.
Potion.
Tents are
Fucking buy tents.
2 gold apiece.
Okay.
So anyone who wants a tent costs 2 gold.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Fine.
If you want a blanket, that's 5 silver pieces.
Okay, can I do that?
Yep. take
Yeah,
that.
I'm just letting you know how much things cost and just subtract from what you have.
Hey, I paid 10 gold for a tent.
You got a nicer one.
Yours has like nice lining and it's
Someone
like,
had to be extra.
like I don't know,
How
a really
much
high
silver was
thread
it for a
count.
blanket?
5.
5.
I still have like 1 plat.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Okay, -2. I'll buy a tent and
So now I got a cloak, a blanket, and a tent. I'm more.
yeah.
You are toasty.
Can I buy?
I still have that cloak of protection.
Yeah, you saw it.
Probably good to have.
You know what, I'll just
It's getting colder.
forego the tent and get a blanket. Yeah, I'll get a blanket. -2 silver, you said?
Go like wolf form and put a blanket over you.
Blanket was
Huh?
5 silver.
Yeah.
Go wolf form,
Yeah.
we'll tuck you in.
Can I buy? Can I buy a small utility knife?
Yeah, sure. I'll say it's like 3 silver pieces.
How many
I like
coppers
traps.
per silver?
Like a hunting trap.
I guess.
We're doing this again?
There only are about 2. They're not like the jagged bear traps. They're more just like 2 solid iron bars that just collapse in. They're not meant to rip. They're more meant to like break bone.
That's good.
But they're 5 gold apiece.
Okay, I'll take those.
How many
You get
coppers
2.
to a
They're
silver?
kind of heavy. They're like 25 pounds apiece.
How many coppers to a silver?
10.
If I get 2, can someone else hold the
Oh,
other
okay,
one?
cool. Then
Rogue already has 1.
I also want
It's
to buy
the bear
some
trap,
rations.
though.
It's more or less the same thing.
Oh.
How much are rations?
I'm going to look at that right
I'll
now.
just get 1 then.
8 copper and 10 so I got 1 blanket. 2 silver, right?
For what?
The
Blanket?
blanket, 2 silver. Or 5 silver.
5 silver.
5 silver. Okay.
5 silver.
Okay, no copper. So I only have gold
I'll
and
say a single day's ration is 1 silver piece.
okay.
So however many, up to we'll say 15. You can have a maximum of 15 days of ration
Okay, so the ration.
before it becomes kind of cumbersome.
Okay. 15 days worth of rations. I'm just gonna go.
I'm gonna buy 2 because I'm already setting up food, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So if anyone else wants rations, it's 2 silver a piece, up to 15 days worth of rations.
So wait.
A day's worth of rations is 2 silver.
Okay.
You can hold a maximum of 15 days of rations.
Oh, 15.
I keep forgetting.
Oh, sorry.
15.
10. I meant 10.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting I have torches.
Get the torches. I think I said it right. The berries in your bag are mostly bad at this point.
I thought we finished them all.
You finished most of them, and the rest have gotten kind of sour.
I'm pretty sure by then I would have thrown them out.
Yeah, they're pretty
So,
gnarly.
I'm still carrying my bad mushroom.
You got your 1 bad mushroom.
Keep
It is dried and nasty, but
Yeah.
it's not moldy.
It's gonna come in handy.
It's in a
Can
little
I
pouch.
tell if it could be used as a
No,
substance?
it's poison.
How much is
Oh.
15 days worth
Yeah,
of
it's the
rations?
one that made you guys throw up.
2 silver
Oh,
a piece,
shit.
so 30 silver.
Okay, 30 silver. Okay, minus 30 silver.
I'm just keeping it in a little pouch, and we might use it someday.
How many silvers to gold?
10.
Okay, another 10. Okay. So I will have 43 gold. 443.
Let's see. Just other things generally. if you want to get like a lantern or an hourglass.
A tinderbox is just like matches, right?
Sonya's.
No,
yeah,
it's not
it
Flint.
is.
There's no
Sonya's.
need for
Flint's
one.
I'll take an hourglass.
Okay.
How big is like?
They're sizable. It's about maybe 6 or 7 inches long. Very well crafted glass, well crafted wood. It's not at the general store. This is more like a little finer shop, fineries. So they're about 25 gold a piece.
What kind of potions are
Okay.
there? And how much are they?
The potion store primarily just has regular healing potions at 50 gold a piece.
Okay.
There are some greater. I think there's like maybe 2 or 3 greater healing potions at about 200 gold a piece.
Okay.
Depends on what you want to
Still-
stock up on.
I still have like just the one.
Can I get a crowbar?
A crow. Sure. It's more like at a hardware store, but yeah, sure. Why not? It can be a bludgeoning instrument.
Let's look something up.
So you're gonna get
Yeah,
this
just
door
your phone.
open.
Just
It's locked from the inside. I'm gonna get this door open.
You never
I'd like to
know.
buy a hydraulic vice.
It's 2 gold a piece.
Okay. I'll buy one crowbar.
Oh, that's meant for the hydraulic device. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good.
No, that's like 80,000 gold.
It's doesn't exist in this universe yet. It's too heavy for me to
Can I
carry.
get a car jack?
Can I get a car?
Some jumper
Can I
cables?
have a car? Can I get a Ford Focus, please?
It's like a thing with wheels, but it's like Flintstone style, so you have to like use your feet.
Yeah, it's a living.
How's my horse doing?
Roach, he's fine.
His hooves are trimmed.
Yeah, he's been shooting everything. He's
His
a,
hooves
the
are trimmed.
the stable master is like, oh yeah, I had to reshoe your horse. So on top of that, and with feeding for about maybe a few days, it's like 10 gold.
There's a thingy popped on the.
I look at Roach. Does he look like he's in fit running condition? Has his mane been brushed?
Make an investigation check.
I'm gonna summon Dorian.
I'm trying to picture Flying brushing his horse. It's like jump, brush, jump, brush.
11.
He looks fine. The stable master's like, oh, I can brush him out for you if you really need to, but otherwise he's fine.
What?
Okay. I pay up command.
Okay.
I forgot last session I got a piece of driftwood that looks like corn.
Yep, you have a piece of driftwood that looks like corn.
Yeah.
Everybody get their tents?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've already got my horse all prepped up and pretty.
Okay.
Okay. So y'all ride out. It's about maybe 3 or so in the afternoon. Got your coconuts ready, and you make your way down. Let's see.
Shotgun.
It's a horse.
They call shotgun on a horse.
Shotgun slap.
That's pretty good.
How's John holding on to me?
He's kind of not actually. Like he's got the rein in his hands, and you're just kind of like wrapped around his arm. His arm's like wrapped
like the
around.
child.
You're like in the middle, so.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh, some bagels.
Okay. So you travel for let's say
Oh my
2 days.
God.
You know, perfectly fine. Albeit a little cold. You set up camp. Doesn't need anything like that. On the 3rd day, you're traveling down a worn path, like a road that goes toward Brighton. Yeah. So you're going in this general direction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're going like this. So you're about the halfway point right now. Kendra, it is at this halfway point. It starts looking really familiar. You've been disassociating through most of this, but this part it is vividly familiar. You remember the shape of the hills nearby. You remember, despite all the trees being the same color right now, like reds and orange, yellows, you remember these trees, this orange, this red, this yellow. You remember the faintest smell of ocean nearby, maybe a few hours away.
She starts crying a little bit.
Is she ready
Are
for
you-
this?
Yeah, and it's the same style, so you're riding around. Your arms
Oh,
are around
it's
it.
not behind me.
It depends if that's what you want.
Are you sitting in front of me or behind me?
So damage, you feel that her grip is getting a little tighter around you, and you hear a little bit of just.
Are you cold back there?
Yeah. Oh.
What's wrong?
Cold.
wearing the amulet, bitch.
Shit. I'm not lying. It is cold.
I mean, you can make it. You can make an insight check.
I want to make an insight check.
Okay, make deception check.
I get a plus 5.
Well, this
on
is
that.
gonna go bad.
I get a plus 5 on insight.
Son of a bitch.
I see double digits.
17.
Fuck. 22 then?
22.
You better roll a nat 20.
22.
Huh.
You can't lie to
what
me,
was it,
bitch.
deception? 11?
You can hear, even as she's saying, you can hear the quiver in her voice a little bit as she talks. You can feel the grip around her. You can feel a slight heat radiating on your back where her face is.
Should we stop? Are you okay?
We don't need to stop.
As you're traveling down the road, you're at a slightly slower pace at this point, just to kind of give the horse a little bit of rest. You go down the road. It's fairly wide. It's about maybe 2 horses wide. You see far off in the distance, as the road bends a little bit toward the right, the hills are shading a mottled greenish yellow color. A few trees kind of sparse around. Quite a few of them are actually lost a good chunk of their leaves. The rest have changed color. Yes.
The way that we're going,
Yes.
are we going through where I used to live?
You are on the main road that you know. And you know that if you just turn left within the next maybe 5 miles or so, and then go southward about maybe 10 miles, you'll be home. But anyway, as you walk toward the winding road, you see coming opposite you what seems to be a kind of hunched over figure. It's got like a thick cloak on and like kind of like a wide brim hat, like a walking stick. And as you walk toward it, like you see the shape kind of like it lifts its head up and it kind of waves at you. And then you recognize as you get closer, it seems to be an older man, probably in his late 40s, early 50s. He kind of waves at you. It's like, ho! He kind of waves you to stop.
Let me slow down.
Can you spare some time to help an old man? My cart tipped over a few ways back. I was gonna go to town.
Can I make a charisma check?
Charisma for what?
I mean, not charisma.
Insight or
Insight, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Make an insight check.
19.
From what you can tell, he's telling the truth. He looks kind of winded and tired.
I know that con.
From walking for a while. He's like,
It's like you lift the
Just
cart
around
up
this
punching-
corner.
I was-
there's,
Bump hits you.
You fucking liar.
I was walking toward the forces to try and get some aid, but now that you're here, I just
You're
need
gonna walk to Forsen. That's like 3 days out from here.
It was either that or turn around and go back home, but it's the same distance either way. What's up?
Go back home.
Motherfucker. Don't ignore him. Wait,
An axle broke and the wheel broke, and I could use some help repairing it.
I have just the right tools.
We also have mending.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
we
can
have
literally
the
just
we
fix
have
it.
his thingy.
I just need some bodies to help hold the cart up to be
I
fixed.
guess we.
I'm a body. Yes, we can do this.
Oh, okay. We're gonna lead the way.
So,
It'll save me
you all
shapeshift.
you all just walk at this point. You all just get off your horses and walk.
There's 7 of us. He's not gonna try anything.
At this point, it doesn't matter. As you walk, you do see an overturned cart. The covering tarp is on the ground. It's kind of muddled with dust. Crates have been knocked over. It seems like a lot of them are root vegetables, things like that.
Does he not have a horse?
Root vegetables, you say?
He's got
Downflank.
He's got a couple horses, but they're just off the untied from the cart. They're just kind of sitting, grazing on the grass nearby. Sorry, one horse.
Alright.
One horse. But otherwise, yeah. You see around you that there are slightly more trees in this area than the rest of the road. There are some hedges, but the leaves are mostly gone from the hedges.
Do I notice
Change color.
something in the trees?
Make a perception check.
What's in this cart from what I can see again?
Make an investigation check.
11.
Please.
While most of the trees are fairly bare as leaves are falling, there are some that are mostly full just with colored leaves. And from what you can tell, there doesn't seem to be anything inside them.
17.
The cart just seems to be larger crates. Some of them are like sealed, like they're not like slotted crates with like sections of open space to see inside it. Some of them are sealed crates, but some of the crates have been knocked over. Assuming just sweet potatoes, carrots, potatoes.
Sweet potato.
Things like that.
How will fix his cart?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we will.
I guess I go. Wait. Yeah, we fix his car, right?
Yeah, sure. It takes
Go about
a good chunk of the day because the cart is quite heavy. It takes time to unload the cart, pick it up, find some appropriate wood to fix the axle, find some appropriate wood to fix the wheel, get it all set up, and then restock everything back onto the cart. So it's at this point starting to get dark. It's about this whole instance started about maybe 9 in the morning. It's about maybe 2 in the
It took
afternoon.
us that long with 7 people.
It took a little while.
During the working time, do we small talk with him?
Yeah, you find out his name is
Zero.
Cyril Potato.
Potato?
His name is Jasek, Jasek.
Oh, Jason Statham.
Did he mention where he was coming from?
Hmm?
He's
Did he
coming from
mention-
Briarwood.
I was coming from a small village near Briarden. I know the area. I have a farm nearby, and I do sell much of my wares there. But apparently, there aren't as many people in Briarden these days, so I try and sell in Forsen around in the area. I tried to sell in Sirith, but they also seem to be preoccupied at this point. Make a history check.
Oh.
Oh shit. 6.
Doesn't seem to be familiar in your eyes.
Does he recognize her?
He'd make a
No, does he recognize her?
Yeah.
Doesn't he ask to roll?
yeah, but you're watching this. You're watching how he acts, right?
Mhm.
Make a insight check.
Inside checks.
16.
He seems to treat all of you fairly equally. You do notice he's slightly more wary around Rogar just because of his size.
He's probably not used to seeing Dragonborn.
And
He's a giant nerd,
he's-
don't worry about it.
you see his gaze slightly last a little bit longer on Lao, but you assume it's mostly because of just how uncommon
He's
Drow
gay.
are.
I don't blame him.
How are things in that town of Briarden?
Oh, it's fine. It's smaller than normal. A lot of the younger folks have gone off to Forsen, to the capital. So it's getting harder for us older folks to get a living there. But otherwise, it could be worse. I
You
have a
have any
home.
kids, Jasek?
Do I have any children?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. I have a son.
Hmm.
I have Joseph. He's working on the farm right now, and I believe he's expecting a child in a few months' time.
Oh, congratulations.
Aww.
I'll send your thanks to him.
Grandpa.
I'm very
Joseph.
excited.
Would I know that guy?
Can I
Joseph,
Yeah.
make a history check.
I'm just picturing the
Please
dream
be
dad.
a fucking good roll for once. 9.
Get fucked.
No, doesn't seem very familiar at all either. But yeah, so and again, a good chunk of it is actually just talking to Jasek. He's fairly amicable. He's kind of like the nicest grandpa character. He's very, he kind of bemoans the fact that the town is getting smaller, that it's getting harder to.
What's the town's name?
Hmm?
What's the town's name?
The town is called. I completely had it written down and I don't know where I put it.
Briarden or a different town?
No, it's near Briarden.
Small town
Oh.
next to Briarden.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a small village. Shit, why did I write it down?
Briarden.
Briarden. Or I didn't forget the name town.
Me with Kendra's dad right now.
You forgot your father's
I know
name.
it starts with an R.
You forgot his name?
I forgot his
You
name.
didn't write it down?
I did, but I'm trying to find where I wrote it.
Roscoe.
That's what
Chicken
it
and
was.
waffles.
You dumbass.
Chicken and waffles. There you go. That's how you can remember.
Because I was like, it was a really friendly guy name, and I don't remember what it fucking was.
Oh, there you go. It's the village is called Callery.
Calorie.
Yes.
Oh.
Kallery.
Roscoe. Calories. You're fried?
Costco. How do you spell that? Costco got some calories.
Kallery. Calorie.
Yes, the calories are here.
No, that's you know that you know that village. It was a very, to call it even a village is saying a lot, as it's pretty much just a gated community of like maybe 20 families.
Oh.
No, you're not. Your dad's not from there.
No, not my dad.
I like to ask Jasek. I put my arm up on an invisible, unseen
I'm
countertop.
just holding it up.
Yeah.
You're just showing your armpit at this point.
Yeah, peruse your wares. I'm a bit low on food and would like to buy some of your
It's only
what
been
looks
3
like
days.
potatoes.
Oh, for all your help, here. He just walks. He kind of like walks up. He grabs one of the smaller crates, and it's just filled with mostly just sweet potatoes and carrots. And just here, yours.
What's in the larger ones?
More of them.
Perhaps I may be more interested in the larger
You
potatoes.
can't carry that much.
If you really want.
I think that's good, thank you.
Do you want any more? I can spare a couple more crates.
No, it's okay.
Okay. And you look at the crate. It is about maybe 3 dozen sweet potatoes and another couple dozen carrots.
No, this is...
I insist I pay for them, Jason.
No, you've paid enough with your help. I really appreciate it. And if we ever cross paths again, know that you'll have a wonderful discount on any of my other sales.
We hope to meet again.
Wait,
We travel.
other sales?
Did we just get our first traveling merchant?
I think so.
Yay!
Okay.
Enchantment.
Stop.
We can call him
Sweet
to our
potatoes.
camp.
May I have your sweetest potatoes? No. You cannot handle my sweet potatoes.
As your paths diverge, him going where you came, you're going in the opposite direction.
Are we going through the forest? Or...
No, you're still going on the road.
Okay.
You do notice that as he leaves, he grabs a sweet potato from one of his crates and then just eats it. Like he just takes a bite out of it raw.
Aw.
Crunchy.
And he
You like
waves
it
at you, you hear this crunch.
Oh.
Crunch.
He has really strong teeth.
He kind of waves and he kind of carts himself along.
I was under the impression it was trafficking children.
But otherwise, he's just crunching on sweet potatoes.
Hey, child, help me fix my wagon, because you can do that.
I don't know how they traffic people and put them in crates on potato carts.
He's just a nice old man with potatoes.
I can't trust anybody.
I know, I thought he was gonna ambush us.
It's like we lift the thing and a boxing glove comes out.
I was real wary of those trees nearby.
Oh fuck! I have a small crate of potatoes. How many potatoes and carrots?
So about 3 dozen sweet potatoes and about 2 dozen carrots.
Sweet potato pie.
If you want, at this point you're just carrying it like a normal crate, but you can distribute them if you wish.
Guys want potatoes? Wait, how many potatoes again?
3 dozen.
3 dozen. Who wants a dozen potatoes? Lau, you want a dozen potatoes?
I'll take one.
Okay, Lau gets. Okay, I have 2 dozen and 11 potatoes. You know, I'll just.
Shit.
I can't.
John said I'll take a dozen.
Okay. So
I tried.
John has a dozen potatoes. Lau has one. I transfer a dozen and 11 potatoes into one of my burlap sacks.
Okay. And then you have 2 dozen carrots.
I still can carry them.
Okay.
Is there anyone else?
I'll take the carrots.
You gonna take a dozen carrots?
Yes.
You can
Okay,
feed
You
it
can
to
snack
horse
on them.
now.
Okay, and
Yeah.
I give all the horses a carrot each.
Okay. You give 1 to Roach. You give 1 to Gilrain, even though it's a
Spirit.
spirit horse.
That's
It's
It's
so fine.
Does it eat?
no.
Oh.
You give 1 to Lau.
It just drops to the floor.
You hold 1 up to Tender.
Okay. Alright, so okay, that's I'll just say that I have a dozen carrots, 1 dozen and 6 carrots left.
Yeah, a dozen and a half.
Dozen and a half.
As you continue traveling forward, as the night kind of starts creeping down again, it starts to get a little bit chillier. You build yourself a fire, you set up your tents, and Kendra,
John digs his hole.
John digs a trench.
Yep.
As per normal.
As per tradition.
Yeah, as per tradition, John drop kicks a tree and then builds a trench
Let's go.
to mark as you've all been traveling. Kendra, even at night, you recognize the stars. Open field of stars, slightly mottled by clouds, and you think back and you remember the words of this. You remember an older man's words, a gentle but very tough hand on your shoulder, and you see and you can see in your eyes, through your memories, a hand pointing out to a very specific star. And you hear this man's voice, and you hear, if you're ever lost, follow that star. And you see the hand point down to where your house is, maybe 50, 60 feet away. You can follow it.
I'm going over there.
And you don't see it, but you see the star.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow the star.
Okay.
I'm sneaking the fuck out of there.
Make a stealth check.
Do you remember rescuing someone's mom?
And are we in a forest?
You're in a field.
I like sneaking out in a field.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, actually, you're sneaking out in the field. You have disadvantage.
Shit.
Aren't they awake?
Yeah, it's only like 6 in the evening.
Oh, we're all awake.
Hell yeah. 19.
That's pretty good. I don't think anyone has any passive perception for that.
Woo!
So maybe
Passive
So you gotta
perception
sneak
for
out.
sneak
About
Mine's 15.
20 minutes later.
God finally intended me to do this.
About 20 minutes later or so. Damaris and Flank, you both notice that you're 1 short.
Do I really notice?
Does Flank only notice
Yeah.
because it's like there's no one else at eye level?
Flank, where'd Kendra go?
Ooh.
You just notice that there's like you
Zuzu there?
you count the shapes around. No.
Zuzu's gone too?
Yeah. you're with her.
He's my boo.
You count the shapes around the campfire, and you do know how to count to an extent, and you know there's 1 missing.
You're right. The other one is gone.
Did nobody notice Kendra leave?
Nope.
Y'all are useless.
Well, you didn't notice either.
I gotta watch Flank.
Tender, did you notice something?
You hear a voice.
Oh no,
No.
he's at that point.
Kill them all.
Tender,
Push them in the
told
fire.
me that Kendra's missing. We should go find her.
Yes, we should.
Do
I'm
any of
glad
us
you
know
agree.
about Kendra's background?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So we have no indication of being like, this is familiar to her or anything.
Well, I think she
I told you guys that
basically.
I,
you ran
yeah, I
away.
think we like,
I left home.
Yeah.
and that's it.
but not where
But-
it's home, but like,
No,
just
yeah.
that you did.
You do have an
Okay.
inkling of that something is different because of how she's been acting the last couple of days.
Oh, I guess we gotta fucking look for her.
Who wants to go looking?
I'll go look.
Make investigation check.
Oh. It's like, oh gosh, she's right there. She's stuck in a hole. I don't know. 15.
Okay. If you want to. Depends on who's looking. You fall into the fire. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no!
The hem of your cape.
It can't be
catches
that
on
bad.
fire.
It can't be that
It's a 2.
You squint too hard, your eyes hurt.
I don't see
Well,
shit.
I got 15. Did I see anything?
Oh, 11.
Yeah, now you actually do notice some footprints
Okay.
heading from where you are south.
Turn into a dog and sniff her out.
You technically can.
Okay. I turned to fucking Droopy the dog. Let's go.
Are you gonna try and just smell for Kendra?
Honestly, I didn't look at the dog stats or whatever. What's a dog?
We'll just say a wolf for for all intents and purposes.
Okay, fine.
We'll say a wolf.
Okay, I'll be a dire wolf, and I will. Let's see.
You have advantage on perception checks that rely on hearing or smell.
Okay. Alright, I'll turn into a dire wolf, and we are gonna investigate. Scoops. Oh, wait, I'm Scoops.
Make a make a perception check with advantage.
I'm looking at the feet, the footprints, so
Yes.
yeah, I should have some indication of where I'm going. 16. Where does perception is from?
Wisdom.
Wisdom. Okay, so 17. And then.
It might have us. Dire wolf, my little dire wolf, my little.
I'm looking
dire
at the
wolf.
stats for dire wolf, and it's +1 for wisdom.
It's skills. So you see right under the stats it says skills.
Oh, so I do +3.
Yes.
Okay, so 19.
Okay, and then you have advantage. So
19.
okay. So you immediately smell her scent, and you just
Follow Lassie, the dire wolf.
you take off. The rest of you follow. Kendra.
What do you smell, boy?
Did Kendra fall in the well? So yeah, you even in more or less total darkness. The moon is at most a quarter full, and it's covered by clouds at sometimes. In total darkness, you know exactly where you are. You look up, you see a single star, and just follow it in a straight line. You travel for about maybe an hour and a half or so.
Wow, she went far.
I mean, it's even that's only like maybe 5 miles at most. You do notice finally that as you look up for the sky, you look down a little bit. You see just beyond the small hill a small tail of smoke kind of coming up.
Try to have another over encampment.
Start running.
Yeah, you just book it.
Do we see the smoke?
No, because she's still about half an hour ahead of you.
So we're just gonna see her run back towards us?
Run faster, Lau.
Okay.
Yeah, she's still ahead of you.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we're going as fast as we can to find her.
Yeah, short of just straight up running, you're just making your way
Downtown.
Walking fast.
Facing past.
So you make it up.
Kinder's homebound.
You make it up to the hill.
And we need you.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
She misses you.
And now we want Ponder.
Yeah, so you make it over the one hill. You recognize this hill. You've gone up it so many times and rolled down it. And you look down and you see this little cottage. Maybe 30 feet across at any edge. A small garden to the side of it. A little scarecrow that you recognize. It's old. It's falling apart a little bit. And you see the faint reddish orange glow of candle of firelight inside the house, and then smoke coming out.
What time is it?
Like 8:30.
Oh.
9 o'clock. As you crest over and you see all this, you do actually see the light go out, and it just gets dark in the house.
Just need to sleep. Am I at the door yet?
No, you're still at kind of a hill, and you see the house. You're just gonna walk up.
I'm running up.
Okay, you're just booking it.
What's in the house? What's in the
Okay.
house?
If you see 3 soups laid out, please don't drink it.
You see 3 chairs. And 3
Don't eat
beds.
anything.
Too cold.
Well, at least the house wasn't made of candy.
We don't know that yet.
Have you licked it?
Flank, don't eat the house.
bites the doorknob. Turns out to be chocolate.
Willy Wonka's house.
Ugh.
You make it to the door. It's the same door you recognize.
Knock, knock, knock. Yeah, just non-stop knocking.
And you just hear this. Who is it?
I just kind of freeze and I don't. Do I recognize the voice?
Oh, you know who this is. You 100% know who this is.
Dad?
And then you just hear silence.
Well, now I know I'm dreaming. Good night.
That doesn't sound like my dad.
These solicitors are getting really good.
You just hear more silence, and then you hear this very small steps, as if like trying to be quiet. You hear tap, tap. You hear the latch unlock on the door very
I
slowly.
pull off my hood while he's doing that.
The latch unlocks very slowly. The door just kind of creaks open, and you see this man who you've known for so long, but but the last you saw him, he had more hair. He was a little slimmer. He's got kind of like he's got more hair. He's got less hair on his head and more on his chin and his face. His eyes are you see the lines of squinting in the sunlight. You also do notice that he had a small hit, like what if he had a kitchen knife in his hand, glimmering very slightly in the moonlight.
Get out of here, Spectre.
Door creaks open, and you see this eye, and this beard, this knife, and you see this body, and and even after all these years, there's no mistaking it. It's your dad.
It starts
And he just looks. His eyes are wide in confusion, and he looks more confused than anything, like as if a child was just left on his doorstep in a basket. But the second you see his eyes register for a second, and immediately the lines almost disappear. His eyes widen up, and then immediately just you see moonlight kind of glowing around his eyes. They swell up, and the two of you just embrace for.
The knife first.
You hear the knife. She stabs you in the chest. No, you hear the knife clinking and just hit the ground.
Please put the knife
And the two of you just are just in each other's arms for what feel like hours. It's times. An endless amount of time.
I'm just burying my face and I'm just shaking my head. I'm so sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
He's saying the same thing back to you. Just onto your head.
I definitely heard that.
Yeah,
I think I heard Kendra.
it's at this point you
See the
get
house.
toward like the crest of the hill. You see the smoke. You saw smoke for a little while. You smelled smoke for a while, and then you see it kind of go out. And then you
Just
see
kind of the black billow.
yeah, and just last little puff before nothing. You make it over the hill. You see the same small cottage. You see the lights are out, and you just hear, even from a fairly far distance away, just open sobbing from two people. And even though it's dark, your eyes as well, Damaris, can
What's
see.
your elf I see?
I see you fucking cry like a little bitch.
Yeah, the two of you can see Kendra embracing this.
It's just
this
us two
older
looking
man.
for her?
No,
Well,
but
we
you
have,
can
night
see it.
vision.
Oh yeah, I know, but all of us go
Yeah,
there.
everyone's there,
okay,
but you two can see.
They
it.
can see
Yeah.
dark shapes, and we're like, oh, it's Kendra.
Yeah,
And the cry, like the subtitles, like crying in the distance.
crying in Elvish.
Me!
But yeah, you see her just tears openly pouring out as she's embraced by this older looking man who is very squat. Like you almost mistake him for a dwarf for a second.
So he's like a tall flank.
No, he's
Brother!
He's
A tall flank.
Kendra looks pretty much exactly like her dad.
Oh.
Yeah. And you kind of just you let it ride out for
We're
a
just
little
kind of
while.
gonna stay on the hill.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna sit. Okay.
I think they're having a moment.
And
You
then
think?
5 minutes go by, 10 minutes go by, They're still going.
Let's just play frog dice. I'll be
We're emotional bitches.
We should
Just like rock,
camp
paper,
over
scissors.
here.
I'm always paper because I have paws.
Make a stealth check. Damaris, Flank, and John make stealth checks.
Wait, the rest of us
What are
know?
they trying to do?
The rest of us know?
Just be, or you can if you want.
Or,
Yeah. It's okay. John rolled a 1 anyway.
Nice.
I got a 5.
Yeah. After maybe the 20 shit. After maybe the 10-minute mark, Kendra, you just hear like a.
it's
I
right.
kind of like jump.
And you look up and you see just over the hill these silhouettes of 5 other people, well, 4 people and a large dog.
Oh, and I turn
That's
around,
saying
all
too.
smiling. I'm like, hi!
Your dad like looks in confusion, like, ugh!
My tail's wagging excitedly. That's my way of saying hello.
And I'm like, come here, come here, come here.
Slowly waves back.
So you all make it down, down to the cottage. It is a very tight fit for all of you. This is a
Rogar
house.
stands outside, looks in the window.
This was a house designed for 3
Oh, wait.
people maximum.
Oh wait, I shouldn't go in. I'm a direwolf. I'm gonna.
It
I'll
was
change
assumed
that.
you go back.
Yeah. It's like he sees the wolf. Ah, turns back to a
That's
drop.
right.
Ah!
That's her dad.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
He looks just.
Sorry, I'm like,
He
Yeah.
is.
The first thing you notice is that, like Kendra, her father is quite short.
Yeah.
Short and wide.
He's pushing 5'5" tops.
still taller
So,
than me.
or like most of us are standing over him.
Yeah.
Still taller than me. Well, me.
So for you, about 3 inches taller, 3 or 4 inches taller. Dwarves are not that tall. You all kind of find a place to, at the very least, lean, if not sit.
Rogar from the window.
Ginger, you just like you find a stool that you like sitting on a lot. There's one chair that's just kind of plush and comfy. It takes out a decent chunk of the living room space. It's next to the fireplace. Her father, who he introduces himself as Roscoe Summerbond. He comes by. You see he only has 3 mugs with tea in them. Like I hope you don't mind sharing. I don't have people here.
Wow, would you like one?
I just walked back. For what?
Tea.
Oh, yes, I'll have tea.
So you take one. Kendra takes
I got
one.
pearly white smile.
He takes one. It's like, I suppose you can share the cups later. And you see his eyes are just all puffy. And same thing with Kendra, just puffy
guys are a
eyes,
mess.
red, just it's like
You know where she
smears of
got it from.
snot dripping.
We know where she got it from.
He just kind of sits down. Everything goes quiet for a little bit, and he's just like, everything's dead silent for a little. Just hear the crackling of the fireplace that was relit, and he just sits, kind of contemplating his tea, and he just looks at you, Kinjin. He's like, I've thought so long about what this day would be like. And I still can't think of anything I would say except for how sorry I am. I don't know. I didn't think that you would be so adamant about learning about this woman who wasn't in your life. And it took me this long to realize how unfair that was. And I'm still sorry. I don't know what I did to deserve you coming back. For so long, I left food out for you. And then when I couldn't do that anymore, I left flowers by the scarecrow outside. He does refer to it, he refers to the scarecrow as Mr. Pants, which is what you recognize it as.
He's like Scarecrow. I'm like, huh?
Wait, did he
Mr.
tell us that
Pants.
just now? The scarecrow, Mr. Pants?
He just said Mr. Pants.
I'm laughing because that sounded really funny.
Yeah, it kind of breaks things for a second.
Damaris shifts uncomfortable because he's like, boy, I just had this talk a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, for you, Damaris, this is just fresh wounds, right reopened again. Like they were just barely scabbing over and just torn completely ripped off. You're trying just to you're doing those really slow, deep breaths you to stop crying.
Staring at the fireplace.
Just your eyes are burning looking at the fire, but it's better than thinking about things. He just looked like he looks at you and seeing his eyes, despite the redness and everything, it's these bright eyes that you recognize as your own, eyes you've seen in a mirror 1,000 times before. And he just looks at you like he hadn't seen the sun. Yeah, seeing his eyes are bright. Even in the fire, they like glimmer in this like greenish brown hue. And he looks at you and he's like, he just gets up, he sets his tea down, he walks up into his room. He kind of pulls out a little chest. This is an elven designed chest. And he looks at it, he's like, I was going to give this to you when you turned 16, but I guess better now than never. He kind of opens it, and as he's opening, he's like, your mother brought this back from where she came from. This was her heirloom, I suppose it was, and one of the only things she left here, aside from you. And he opens it, and it looks to be his exquisitely crafted bracer for archery. It's this almost
Moon prism power.
despite how it looks in age, it's the leather straps, the leather cover looks untouched. The rest is shimmers like platinum and silver, intricate woven designs crisscrossing each other, leaves etched in silver kind of adorn it. And at the central point of the bracer, where it would normally rest on your wrist, is a six-sided gem, emerald green, deep dark green, like a forest in summer.
Forest summer. The blast of the past.
And he hands it to you, and you just hold the box. And he just looks at you like, I know you probably can't stay here for long, and I don't know what brought you here now, but I have time to give you this. And in my heart, this was the thing that kept me going. Knowing one day you would come back. Even when I believed that I would never see you again. I knew that no matter what, I would have to give this to you. I'm just glad I didn't have to leave it in a headstone.
I'm more sorry. I was stupid and I was really young and I didn't know what was. I was impulsive and I really wanted to find you again because I didn't want to leave things the way I did, and I didn't want you to think. I didn't want you to die thinking that I hated you, because I don't.
The rest of you kind of take time to notice the room around it. It's very simple, but there are small things. Like it's pretty much a log cabin. You see the long stretches of lumber used to create the walls. You see very, very well crafted things, handcrafted things. All the furniture, the chairs, the tables, all handmade. Are
you a woodworker?
Yes, I built the house. I do woodworking mostly. I sell my wares when I can. Every time his smile picks up a little bit, it kind of drops back down, as if like memories keep coming back.
That's probably a lot.
Some he kind of put away and then let out again. He kind of thinks like, You know, your mother actually taught me a lot of woodworking.
Really?
It's a skill that she learned, that she was taught, as it were. Apparently, it's
Elves are good with their hands.
but I was able to make a life out of it. Although with calories slowing down a bit, I've been taking more time to enjoy myself, I suppose. He kind of nods over. You see 2 or 3 very well made, handcrafted wooden fishing rods. And it feeds myself, and I get to feed myself as well. The ocean is very calming. I prefer it to the forest nowadays. So, like everything kind of recompose himself as much as
Done
possible.
crying for the moment.
You got a good maybe 5 minutes. So, what does bring you here with such colorful friends?
Well, speaking of family.
We have business in Briarden.
His brow kind of furrows. He kind of looks at you. Is like, what business do you have? What business do you have there?
Sorry.
We can't really talk about it.
Classified.
It's a private mission that we've been tasked.
It's dangerous, I can tell you that much.
Don't tell him it's
His
dangerous.
eyes raise. He kind of
Amulet of truth.
Oh.
But we're good with dangerous things. We've slew a dragon.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I died.
Everything goes quiet again. His eyes, there's like,
Metaphorically, she died
You
when
need
she
to
saw
take the
you.
amulet off.
She just couldn't contain herself, as you saw.
make a deception check.
Oh crap! I'm not good at that. Someone back me up, please.
I'm a dwarf. Hello?
I have -1.
You did this.
I just did that. What is it?
13.
-1, 11.
Well, yeah, Roscoe rolled a 4, so you're in the clear for now.
Oh my
He's
god.
kind of
Good
dumb.
thing he's dumb.
He's beautiful, but a little dumb.
Perfect.
He kind of looks like, well, I can't say I haven't felt the same.
I'm gonna secretly high-five Roger.
Good job.
Squad.
Squad goals.
Bad at lying squad.
Yes.
Ross kind of looks at all of you saying, Briarden is no place for the common folk to go. I
Do we
believe
look common?
We are
Common
anything
folk.
but.
I am not common.
it appears you've gotten into a line of work.
I guess so.
I'm proud. I expected no less. You, much like your mother, you went to type to settle down. Although early on, there were proposals from some of the other neighbors, but we'll not talk about that.
Proposals.
For you?
For you, but I politely turned them down on your behalf. I suppose I should have known that you weren't going to be long for this household.
Well,
Neither of you could sit still for too long.
I get why you didn't tell me anything, and since I've been away, I've thought about it a lot, and she doesn't matter to me anymore, because she was never there, and you were always there, so that's all I care about.
I loved your mother very much. Kendara was a light in my life. And when she left, all I had was you. And I thought the light had faded. And as I saw you grow, I saw the light in her, But I saw the light I saw in her grow in you, and it was so much brighter. And I wish I didn't have to see the light go out in my life twice. And I don't want to see it again. I imagine I don't want to know what business you have. I know I can't keep you here for long,
I wish I could stay.
but if you could grant an old man who said sorry 1,000 times over, one thing,
Any
stay for a couple days, help out at the farm, just so I can remember you clearly as the woman you've become.
I would love to. This is important, so.
I could also use some help around to collect some wood for the winter.
But if you guys need to leave, you can. I don't want to hold you guys back.
Can we spare?
Full moon's in about 2.5 weeks,
We have until then, right?
and it should only
We
be
could.
it should only be about 2 or 3 days to get the bride in.
I was gonna say we could use this sort of a base to scout around,
Okay.
try to collect intel,
That's smart. I need to prepare myself.
because we shouldn't just rush in,
Yeah.
swords drawn.
I mean, they don't know. Wait, they don't know me, right? They never seen me.
They, it's hard to tell.
Okay.
We could do the old Rogar disguise and put dirt on your face. And it'll work.
I'm an old man.
Young Drake. Hello, young Drake.
The dirt.
I wish I could spare an extra bed for you all, but
That's fine.
We
You
have
got
only
plenty
bought-
of dirt outside.
Don't be rude.
If you don't mind,
My,
I'd
oh
like to
my.
lay out some of your dirt.
My oh my, this feels like dirt.
my
It
dwarven
is.
friend, you may have as much dirt as you like.
My, what a wonderful man your father is, and so tall as well.
Once I
I'm
leave,
taller
I'll
than
write you every day.
Hmm?
I'm taller than him.
Most of us are
Oh,
tall.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
My oh my.
Said once I leave, I'll write you every day.
You don't have to do that.
I don't want to.
Beautiful boy.
Or as often as I can. I'm forgetful.
We do travel a lot.
Yes, I am aware.
How visible is his chest hair?
Excuse me?
Wow.
There's
At,
that.
at this point, it's out there. He's wearing like
Well,
a
that was hot for older
wearing
men.
like a tunic top.
Yup.
It's
First you called dibs on
it's-
Tarlock, now.
It's cut a little low.
They
Yeah,
keep you warm in the
just-
winter.
just
It's
a little-
survival.
Just a little tuft of like reddish brown hair kind of sticks out.
Yup, he's a man, alright.
Thanks, Callista.
I mean, I'm not gonna point it out. I'm just gonna politely not.
It's like,
You're just thinking about it.
Of course.
Yeah, you do notice that, like, despite kind of his stout nature, he's a craftsman. He works with his hands. You see
he's a beefy farmer.
deep lines
He's a carpenter
in his
for
arms of like
sword
musculature. You see his hands are thick and calloused.
Where's that video of Krieger saying, "Stop! I can only have a boner so hard" or something?
Loud, chill.
But he kept describing it.
I think you notice that for all intents and purposes, he has no hair. Like he just has like a little tufts here and there. Just it's effectively gone.
Thank you, though.
But yeah. Otherwise, you spend. Unless anything else you want to talk about tonight.
I guess I introduce him to everybody, obviously, and
Yes.
What do you know of the whatever? The
tell him of our adventures.
Do you know anything about
Are you
potato
sure you want
rooters?
to tell him that?
Let us sit around the campfire and spin yarn of tales.
I
we
cut
can-
the. Wait, what was it called again? That thing? That
Okay.
thing.
The Bahir?
I cut a Bahir's head off!
Yeah, we can tell that one.
Let me tell the many tales of my tattoos. They have seen things. Things that no dwarven man of my height can see.
You are a man who has had many tales, I see.
You're that smart. Smart dude.
Flank's kind of
Funny.
yeah. That's the
Unique.
word.
He's very funny. I like his jokes.
I have known no dwarves do me ill, and many I have worked with time and again. You have good friends.
This guy knows what we're all about.
Godless heathens.
Yeah.
Oh my
Although I will admit you have quite the motley crew. Ken Ice,
I like that.
Lau, and Callista, and John,
Rogai.
and Rogai,
I
and
give him a
Damaris.
smug cat look.
Pick your chin up. Yeah, you all tell stories and talk until just the sun starts to crack over the hills and bathe the entire sky in violet and red.
Did he give me the bracer?
Yeah, you're still just holding the
Oh,
box.
okay.
Oh, with
You
your hands
hugging
around
it.
Yeah. The latch for the box is in the shape of a crescent moon. Make a religion check.
Fuck.
Not me.
You're not looking at it.
Here we go. Here's the shitty
I mean,
roll.
if she wants to show it to you, or if you want to like peek over her shoulder. You just notice her staring at a box.
Yeah.
What's in the box?
It's in the box.
21.
You recognize this as
Still weird.
the sigil of. You recognize this as the sigil of Sahanin Moonmo, the Seldarine goddess of moonlight, of illusions, of knowledge, of travel, of dreams, of death, of
That was
stars,
Fenrir's
and
lover.
transcendence.
That's a lot of responsibilities.
And yeah, you recognize this sigil as such.
So I recognize that too.
If you're peeking over her shoulder, yeah, you
Who's the Seldarine god of moonlight?
goddess of moonlight.
AKA Princess Serenity.
Yeah, the goddess of death and dreams and journeys.
Oh,
of
Those
myst-
two?
Yeah, death, dreams, journeys, mysticism, stars, transcendence,
Orange moon.
of illusions, of knowledge, of travel.
Oh boy.
When the gods are short-staffed. Is it already the next day? Or is it?
It's like
Her holy
it's
day
like
before
5
the
a.m.
moon.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like you've all just been talking
Mhm.
for hours
I just-
and hours.
Oh, talk about the
Jan
time when
was kinda
Rogar
like-
was able to sneak into the camp and
Yeah, y'all just tell stories. He smiles and accepts them mostly. Anytime he hears you, kind of very delicately focus away from Kindra
It's
dying.
like the kids' version.
Yeah, you edit it very heavily.
tell him Zuzu died instead.
Yeah.
yeah, that
And that you met with the king, you met with the royal family, and he's very proud. He kind of looks at the sunrise. Oh, guess I didn't see the sunrise. Oh, time to work.
What the fuck?
He didn't sleep.
Dad's mental as shit.
He really just heads out. You see it. He kind of beckons some of the guys, John, Damaris, Flank.
I'm one of the guys. Nice.
He gives you all like hatchets.
Boys are back
And it's
in
like,
town.
you go fell a couple trees, get some wood.
I don't
Chop
have
it
the strength
up.
for that, so have fun, guys.
Kendra, you do notice that as he leaves, the house is kind of dirty.
Oh,
It's kind of like a single guy's been living there for like years.
okay.
Kind of messy.
Depression.
So everything's kind of dusty and.
Can I
seems
put on the
kinda silly.
bracer?
That's his bachelor
Yeah,
pad,
sure.
bro.
Is there anything broken?
No, just dusty.
Oh, okay.
Kind of musty, dusty. The windows need cleaning.
Maybe some rats you can eat.
Ew.
Delicious rats.
God.
Kendra, as you put the bracer on, the light shines slightly from the bracer, and immediately, even though it shines very faintly, your eyes fill with green light. Your head wheels back as you see much more clearly the vision you saw before of a huge black spire column jutting out at the sky at a slight angle, as if an arrow had been shot by some unseen enormous force and hit the ground.
We're not going to the Feywilds, Derek. I'm not doing it.
You see you see that the spire is in the center of a huge clearing, but past that clearing, there's an enormous wraparound of forest surrounding it. But whereas the trees you see now are yellowish, orange, green, these trees are dark. The leaves are dark emerald, tinged at the edges with slight hints of purple and indigo. The leaves and the trunks themselves seem to shimmer almost with what looks like starlight coming out of them.
The trees?
Yeah.
Oh.
The trunks.
Oh, okay.
You see the sky is this constant shade of twilight, of deep reds and purples, violets, things like that. You see at the very top of the spire, standing kind of at an angle. So he's standing like this, like kind of hanging off the topmost part. You see him, a humanoid-looking figure, mostly. Your eyes kind of focus. I think at this point things are happening in very quick flashes. You see this person, and it flashes over to a group of elves in very well-dressed clothes, and then it flashes back to the humanoid figure on top of the spire. It gets closer on the face of this person, and the face is covered from the nose down in a cloth of some kind. You see the eyes look so familiar. The hair is short and black. You see a bow sitting on his back. You see, and as everything flashes very quickly, you see the spire crumbling and falling into pieces. A bright flash of light, and then you're back.
Oh.
Only they saw it?
Only she saw it.
Oh.
Well, let's see. Who's in the room right now? No. Yeah.
Yikes.
I'm not doing yard works on it.
No. But I'm trying to think.
This is while
Yeah, only you see it.
Okay.
The rest of you are just kind of cleaning the house.
Okay.
Finding old rags, buckets, water, just cleaning. Yeah, that's what you see. Oh,
Kinda.
You wanna tell anyone
Yeah.
about it?
I almost forgot. You also see, when you see the big space, the forest space, wide and far-reaching, it sort of flickers in between this twilight forest and back to regular forest, yellows and reds, and it flickers back and forth. And you see, as it flickers back toward the regular forest, it flashes back into this, normal forest, and you see a very large tree that just shimmers with yellowish gold leaves. You see what appears to be a shining light coming from the trunk of this massive trunk of the tree. You see a very, 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 very old woman with an elven woman with a walking stick. She seems to be walking around the tree. Your eyes kind of lock for a second. This old elven woman. She's clad in kind of old, frumpy robes.
And she's in the normal.
Yeah, normal forest. Okay. She has little trinkets and things like that kind of hanging off the tassels of her robe. She has the most lines you've ever seen on an elven woman. Her eyes are still bright though and vivid,
Old as balls.
and aware.
Old as balls.
She has a smirk on her face, as if somehow she knows someone is watching her. It probably isn't the case, but it feels like it. And then everything else happens, and then you're back.
So I kind of open up a window and just kind of poke at him like, "Hey, Dad, can I steal them for a second?"
He kind of looks over. He's like, You see they're all just chopping wood.
We haven't slept in hours.
Damaris, like, you've done this before, but you haven't done this while not sleeping.
Yeah.
So you're just, like, as you call out to your dad, you see the rest of the guys there, and you notice that they're all shirtless. So you see Damaris just sweating bullets. Just
sweat dripping down my tattoos.
Please.
Lau, as you hear Kendra call out, you look in the window, you see Roscoe standing shirtless, just chopping wood.
Oh my god.
Not quite like Captain America, just ripping it, but just chopping wood.
Right. I mean, it's so noticeable, but not in the.
It's like you're always shirtless. You're just bashing stumps with your head. No, you're just chopping wood. It's fine. You like when Roscoe offered you an axe, you just show your great axe. Like, I got this.
Sorry, you're not a shoujo hero, Flank.
I'm sure there's a specific niche audience that finds Flank attractive.
Yeah, same thing. You're just
he's not ugly.
Your beard is just
Thank you,
glistening with sweat. Your shoulders are like just you can see like the definite musculature
It's
of
just
your
like
arms.
you and John are always shirtless. So.
Yeah, John, same thing. Just John is shirtless, and like every time you swing the axe down, you stop for a second, see if anyone's looking, and then
Wink.
no one's looking. Swing it down.
Flexes.
Wink.
You
chop.
see that Kendra's calling out the window, so you're flexing for her a bit. You try to do the Steve Rogers thing of just ripping a log in half, and I'll make an athletics check.
Is it athletics or strength?
It's the same thing.
Athletics is-
That's like a 19, so that works.
Damn, boy.
You just like
No blister.
no
No
splinters.
splinters.
Yeah.
No splinters. But Roscoe kind of like looks at it, it's like he kind of gives you a nod, and all of you convene back into the tight living room space.
What's up?
I saw something.
Like a spider?
No, I just like hold up
Oh.
the bracer arm.
Loud. As she describes the old woman,
Oh.
as she describes it, you feel as though you recognize this description of a person. A wild-eyed, ancient-looking elven woman with a staff.
Halfling or elven?
Elven.
Oh.
And
Wait,
the second
It's
part?
your teacher.
My teacher's a halfling, isn't she?
I thought she was elven.
I wrote down halfling.
Did you write that? Oh yeah. So,
Yes.
So sorry, halfling.
Okay.
Halfling. Crazy looking halfling.
So she's even shorter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tiny and crazy looking.
Yeah.
Very Yoda-y.
Yeah.
And then same thing. And Damaris, as she keeps describing the people, she describes this man on a tower bringing it down. It doesn't sound good to you.
I
Sounds like
dropped my shirt that I was about to put back on.
Yeah, Kendra, as you're describing,
I'm relieved.
you see, as you're describing this man on the tower, you notice that Damaris's eyes have kind of glazed over. Lau, you kind of notice it too. The same way that Kendra's eyes kind of glazed over at the speaking to Briarden, Damaris's eyes kind of just glazed over. His shirt just hits the ground.
It's like mine darts between the chest hair.
Well, her dad's still outside.
Not kidding.
Your eyes are just at the window. But yeah, so
I probably asked her to describe the old lady like maybe 3 more times to confirm.
yeah, so she describes it as a wild-eyed looking ancient halfling woman with a very long staff and just a crappy looking clothes and just weird little trinkets on them.
You said he had a bow.
Yes.
A black bow?
Yes. Did I say it was black?
As you recall it, yes.
You said it was black.
Oh, repeat the vision again with the old lady. What happened?
She's near the very large tree that has the large golden tree.
Okay. Does the golden tree ring any memories with me? Like, obviously I recognize her.
It sounds like a story she's told
Okay.
before.
Golden tree. Okay. I'm kind of freaked out because I never thought Lau would be involved in any of this.
Everyone is involved.
Even Blank?
Even Flank. We're gonna get to that one.
I don't wanna.
No one ever wants to. No one wants to go to the Feywild. No one wants to see their dad. No one wants
She
to.
wanted to see her dad.
No one wants to deal with seeing her dad.
She dealt with it.
I'm gonna excuse myself to go outside.
Okay. Are you
Is something
are-
up?
are you trying to leave stealthily, or are you
I
just
just
leaving?
say.
Are you just gonna leave?
excuse me.
Okay.
You just physically get up.
Did
Okay.
any of that sound familiar?
He just
I'm
goes.
just gonna go.
Then as you leave, instinctually you just look upward into the sky, and it's same mottleish gray. It's slightly more open at this point because the winds from the nearby ocean have kind of blown away a lot of the clouds. It's a very clear grayish blue sky. You look around for birds, noticeable ones. You don't see any at this point, and at least none that look particularly familiar. And as you look, every time you look around, it's punctuated by this ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. And you look and you see it's just Roscoe just chopping wood.
Okay.
He kind of looks at you like, something's the matter, man.
Oh, it's nothing. I'm probably just tired.
Go get some rest. You can use my bed if you wish.
I'm gonna
Sad violin
Take off.
music.
my amulet and
Okay.
give it to Wow.
Okay.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
Wait, the amulet of truth?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
Well, it's yours now, buddy, because I don't trust him with it.
Do you have the paper?
Do I have to
Oh,
wear it,
yeah.
or could I just pocket it?
You could just, I suppose you can just pocket it.
You don't
Would it
trust
still
me
work
with
on
it?
me?
I was the
No.
one that gave it back to you.
It could risk of being stolen if it's
Oh.
not on your person, but
Yeah,
yes, you can pocket it.
Wearing one.
But the effect won't be on me if I just pocket it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want it. You can give it to Rogar.
Oh, I
Give
could
it to
give it to
her.
Rogar.
Laura's like, okay,
Because I just don't want to give it to Space, because she's like our
go to
rogue who
liar.
lies about stuff.
Yeah, give it to Rogar.
Wait, I don't lie about
Right?
too many things. I don't lie about too many
No, but I mean, we
You
need you to
convinced
lie.
Damaris that Rogar was invisible and naked in his room.
Yeah,
Oh.
And then you convinced Rogar
You
that
convinced
he was
Rogar that
that.
he was
Leon.
naked in my room.
Leon.
The thing is,
Me with both of those items?
wait, would they clash or something?
No. That
Well,
would just
yeah,
be...
like before I tried wearing two and they didn't like it.
What if you wore one that's like you can lie really well, but and then the other says you can only tell the truth? They just like fizz out and like short circuit.
So you're gonna give it to Rogar?
I'd rather give it to Rogar because like my character, he's already a poor liar.
Rogar looks at you. I mean, I'm not much better, but okay.
I mean, he's the magic wizard.
Okay. Okay. So, is there anything else you want to specifically do today?
Die.
I'm working on.
You just jump into the fireplace.
I'm working on a project.
What are you working on?
Right.
Are you building an Almirage?
No, but Amaraj inspired.
It's like
Wait,
sharpening a piece of wood for the
can I
horn.
Can I ask Kindred's dad if like he could make like thin light armor for out of dragon skin, dragon scales?
He looks at you like, I'm not a smith. I have no
Oh,
idea.
he's not?
He's a
Oh,
carpenter.
He's a carpenter.
Do you know anyone that can make me like light armor out of this like any special like?
Dragon
I
armor maker.
can't imagine who would know how to work with dragon scales.
Fucking blow my arms.
So the day goes by more or less without a hitch. You do some light gardening, some cleaning. Roscoe comes back to the house. His eyes are like, "Oh, this is what a clean house looks like." Roscoe leads you to the
How far apart are Calorie and Briarden? Because we're next to Calorie right now.
You're probably about maybe 5 miles away from Kellery and about 2 days away from Briarden.
Okay.
So
5 miles from Calorie?
5 or 10.
Okay.
It's about a half day's walk.
Okay.
You see Roscoe take some of his wares, just carved bowls and little doodads, knickknacks, small little trinkets and toys that he can sell to children. He kind of puts it in a big sack, puts it over his back, and then he'll just walk over to Kellery. And Kellery is, by all descriptions, a gated community. It's just maybe 10 houses, a small community of farmers and a butcher, like a farmer, a butcher, a leather worker, one of each.
One everything town.
Yeah,
One
so
horse.
one-
CVS.
A 1 everything down. You do notice as you go there that there actually don't seem to be many younger people. Like that, everyone there seems to be under 11 and over 20.
Is this Japan? Okay.
And a lot of them they're just doing the day-to-day work. Roscoe says hi to everyone. You see a few eyes kind of pick up as they see you.
Are those the people last?
Do they sacrifice people?
No.
Oh.
They
I thought it was one of those
they
towns.
recognize you from Roscoe's descriptions, and they say, "Oh, they're saying how happy they are for him that you finally decided to visit." And otherwise, Cali is small. The houses are few and far between. They're more or less on farmland, plantation land, large spaces of land for farming, for crops, for cattle, for sheep, for a leather worker, for an iron worker. So instead of a centralized town, you just kind of go to each house, say hello, spend some time there, and trade your wares if you need some. And yeah, you're introduced to the handful of people there. They're all very nice, a little soft spoken. You see a lot of older men and women, probably in their 50s and older, just sitting, enjoying their time. They're not working quite as hard as everyone else, but they're doing some work because they have to. And yeah, that's you're here. You're just kind of going from house to house. Is there anything in particular you want to do?
I want to ask about Briarden.
So you head over to the first house, which is like a butcher, a cattle farmer.
How long does it take to become attuned to this?
A half an hour.
Oh, so I'm already attuned
Yeah.
to it.
Which is very nice man. He's he's probably got the most hair out of everyone in the town. Yeah, he has this long braid that goes down to like the middle of his back. Even though his hairline is receding slightly, he's got this big bushy beard. He's got his apron on that's kind of messy, and he kind of looks around and is like, says hi to Roscoe, says hi to you, says hi to everyone. He offers meat, pretty much, mostly fresh. Fresh beef, fresh sheep, fresh mutton. There's some preserved meat, like sausage.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wanted to ask about Briarden, about how...
Would it be dangerous to ask anybody specifically about the root stalkers?
Probably.
Okay.
That's why I just kind of want to ask, like, roughly how big the, population is, how, if they're really outsider-friendly.
You see that one...
Because we're headed in that direction.
As you mentioned, Briarden, he kind of bristles a little bit. He stands a little bit straighter. And he looks, he's like, well, the first thing I'd recommend is to not go at all. The last I heard, it was more or less abandoned.
Really?
That's what I heard. You hear his wife kind of call out from in between the sound of like clucking chickens and a thunk. Chicken, cluck, thunk. You hear her call out, it's like, you got a chicken, you want eggs? You hear her call out about, like, who's talking about Briarden? The butcher's like, oh, these travelers want to go through there. He's like, are they insane? It's empty. She kind of comes out. She's got feathers and just blood on her apron. She's holding a headless chicken.
Are they insane? She asked.
Puts it down. She still got the cleaver in one hand.
That's such a mood.
Now, who wants to go to Briarden?
Oh, my party and I are headed in that direction. I've never been there before.
We're on vacation.
Deception checks.
I was being honest, but okay.
Wait,
We're
he's
headed
being
in that
honest.
direction.
Oh, I'm only one line.
Fine. Just blank.
Yeah.
Just blank has to make a deception check.
He's not lying. We are
Would it
going.
have-
It would have been a 16.
Oh. But it was telling the truth, so it's fine.
Did you roll a 2?
Walks out of the room.
No, I did not roll a 2.
7. Well, I rolled a 3. So
Oh
you're
my
good.
You're lucky this is a tiny ass village.
She looks and I was like, I don't know why you want to be there. There's no one there. No one's been there in years.
It's an abandoned town.
Really?
Well, you've heard stories, right?
No. We're not from around here.
Oh, it happened maybe 10 years ago. A whole forest just blew up through the city. Went through buildings.
Really?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I've heard talk from names of people you don't fucking know.
Goes right over my head.
That, these things that happen.
Kids are following along to each and every name now.
Yeah, you're just memorizing all these things. You don't put faces to them, you just memorize them. But you're like, yeah, it's saying things like, supposedly this has happened before in other places, forest appearing.
Are
That's peculiar.
there talk of like shimmery trees?
Just picturing Rover like.
Yeah, Laura's looking at his hand like, what's it behind his head?
Hopefully not related.
She was like, yeah, and then everyone just had to leave. And from what I've read, people that go in there, they don't really, they come back, but they come back bored. It's just, although it has led to an interesting thing, a lot of people call that place the City Under the Trees. It's a nice name. Maybe wish people would live there.
So everybody what happened to the people that lived there? Did you just leave?
They moved. I hear a handful went to Forsen, a handful went to Sirith, a handful went to out westward, or farther west.
Rip the people in Syria.
Been to that place. Lovely place.
Oh yeah, one of the people I knew who lived in Briarden, I heard they moved up to Sirith. I haven't heard from her in a while.
Wait,
That's right.
Business
Sirith is
must
all
have
good
been,
now?
blooming.
Sirith is all good now?
No, these people moved to Sirith maybe 5 or 10 years ago.
Well, I suppose it won't be a place that we'll be setting down camp for or anything, but it might be cool to see the trees.
Oh, I do love seeing trees. And
Make a
rocks.
deception check.
We'll
You're
see
so
rocks.
bad at this.
Make a deception check.
Oh my.
I do like trees and rocks.
Okay, fine. You do like trees and rocks. I'll give you this one.
Well, thank you.
Oh yeah, of course.
Do you know what cities lie past Briarden?
Past Briarden, that's Kalemthar, that area.
Oh, alright.
Have you been to that one? No?
You hear through this conversation a much older voice coming through the front door. I see one of the older men.
Seamus Kane.
Like, you kids talking about you kids talking about Briarden?
Yes.
You're,
You have a story too.
oh yes. When I was a wee lad, there used to be a cave. I went under Briarden. You crawl under there and go through all the roots.
No, thank you.
You find badgers, beat them.
Good choices.
Why would you do
Wait
that?
a minute, an elderly man. Was there speak of treasure in this cave?
If you like badgers, then yes.
Do the badgers have a treasure?
Yes, they're delicious.
The badgers are the treasure.
Why would
I
you
need to
eat
make
them?
notes on this. Thank you. This has been useful.
Then you see the butcher's like, don't listen to father. He's gone quite old in his.
Oh, he's already gonna want to see the badgers.
He's got a thing for animals.
What side?
And
Not in a creepy way.
and dirty
Not
holes.
in a creepy way into the mic.
What side of the town is the cave located, man? Speak your wisdom into me.
Ew.
Oh, we used to go down there as kids. It was just he kind of points toward the direction of Briarden, like you're on the eastern side of it. Just kind of points that direction. It's like, oh, you go 25 and a half furlong over, and you go under this one large tree, and then you see in the roots there's a hole in there, and you go down there and you follow through the cave.
I'm a dwarf the size of roughly of a child. I can do this.
Really buff child.
So you make it to the next few houses, like a leather worker, things like that. And the stories remain mostly consistent. That Briarden is, for all intents and purposes, abandoned. That there are talk of people there. There are some stories of like bandits living there and taking people's money and
Can I
things
look
like
around
that.
for more birds?
Huh?
Can I look around for more birds?
Make a perception check.
Why birds?
No reason.
25.
Eh.
I mean, you see a few.
You see Lau.
You see that? I was like, how did you? No, you see mostly ravens, crows, just flying like.
You see a fucking griffin. I don't know.
You just see a dude on the moon in the daytime.
I'm gonna put my hood up.
The Badger Kid, dammers. We need to make notes. There's treasure in there.
Badger Bandit Kings. Yes.
This is the second morning you've been with Roscoe, and this is the second time you've woken up as the sun is rising. So you wake up at about 6 in the morning. You get to town. You get to town at about 10. You do your business until about 4:30, and then you get back to Roscoe's house at like 8.
Kind of want to talk to my dad about my life.
Okay.
Didn't she tell him that like she died? Like
No, she
no,
kind of carefully avoided that one.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to him alone.
Okay. So everyone else kind of is just talking and doing their thing. Kendra, you sneak up to your dad's room where he's just kind of sitting and he's doing some light whittling. He kind of looks up like, oh, hi. How can I help you, dad?
Did you know you wanted to be a carpenter?
No. I can't say I did, but your mother taught me and I've had a good time with it.
Is there something else you wanted to do?
Have a family. Have a home. Fish.
How do you know what it is you're supposed to do?
He kind of sits and thinks for a second. Well, for me, I don't think there's a grand design. I don't think there's destiny that tells us what to do in life. We construct our own reasons for doing what we wish. Your mother might have thought differently. She believed in freedom and she believed in doing what she wished, but from what I gather, her upbringing had taught her otherwise. I know what I said before. I know I told you that your mother left us. But I don't think I told you why. When you were born, perhaps a few weeks later, people came to our home. Your mother said that they were envoys, messengers. I just saw them as other elves. They looked very fair-skinned, very fancy clothes. Not quite my style. But then they told your mother that she had to leave. And she had to go back with them.
Why'd she have to leave?
She couldn't tell me. They couldn't tell me. And she protested for a time. But then they mentioned there was need of her to protect. There was need of her to protect Corellin's heir.
Was she a high elf or?
And I have no idea what she meant by it. That was the last I saw her. You see the brightness in Roscoe's eyes kind of dim a little bit, and he kind of remembers it.
Do I know anything about Corellin's heir?
Anything that Damas has told you.
He's the leader of the Pantheon.
He's the Yeah, the head of the Salvarine, the leader of
The one that
elves.
cast Wolf out.
I know the anger you feel because I felt it as well. I felt it for her. I felt it for you for a time. And it's amazing how much holding that kind of anger burns through you like fire. Extinguish that anger now before you burn away.
I don't really think about her that much. I just don't give a shit. And if she showed up again, wouldn't want anything to do with her.
The more I see you, the more we talk, the more I see her and you. She spoke the same way of her mother. It was hilarious. You're so young. But I recognize how much you've grown over the years. And I wish I could have seen it with my own two eyes, but you wouldn't be the same person you are now. One day, if I am so fortunate to see you, I do wish to see her one more time. And if you see her before me, tell her I still think of her. Tell her I still haven't made the bed any longer for her, and I apologize. And tell her how proud I am of you.
Just a ribbon in her
Okay.
face.
I'll make it brief.
I take it you're leaving in the morning. To think of how long I waited and how quickly these 2 days have passed. Time is strange, is it not?
I'll keep writing.
Do not burden yourself, dear. As long as I know you're still around and you carry your mother's bracelet. I see you've taken up the bow as well.
Not too shabby at it, no?
Wait, we're not part of this conversation.
Can sometimes hit her own teammates.
Hey.
Me and the Dammers both kind of like
I can hit the rock.
our spine. We sneeze.
He kind of looks at you and it's like, you should spend some time with your friends. I'll still be here. It's too hard to build another house. I'll do my best to make the house a little bigger in case your friends decide to come again.
Thank you.
I could build a proper shed for them.
Oh man, we get a shed. Guess shed.
Are we part of this conversation?
No.
We're like on the porch.
I just
right?
imagine we're like
No,
eavesdropping.
I'm
We're
in
like,
his room.
Yeah, they're in the bedroom.
Okay.
You're like on the porch playing chess.
Yeah.
right, that's right.
Flank is doing something involving an Almirage.
It's like we can hear and we're like, can't we get a shit?
I'll let you know.
We got our elf ears.
John and Callista are enjoying their pipeweed out in the fields.
By Mr. Pants? You
By-
getting Mr. Pants high?
You're hanging out with Mr. Pants.
Mr. Pants is my boy, dude.
Don't smoke Mr. Pants out.
You have,
Dude.
if you had phones, you're taking selfies with Mr. Pants. Hey, Mr. Pants.
Put sunglasses on him.
Hey! You put your sunglasses onto Mr. Pants. Yeah, so he kind of looks at you, it's like, now go on with your friends. I'll see you in the morning.
I give him a hug.
He kisses
Keep
you
the
on the
tent
head.
open.
He kisses you on the forehead. It's all very familiar. You both kind of hold back tears again. And you just
Oh, don't start the weeping again.
you make your way downstairs.
Criers.
To where she gets it. Okay.
Chess.
Oh,
Chess.
right.
Wisdom checks, and then you can add your proficiency.
Yeah.
With
you have-
proficiency?
I have proficiency.
Oh, because you.
I have a thing.
Yeah, you have a chess set. You just make a wisdom check.
Oh, okay.
Wisdom.
Or intelligence.
Intelligence or wisdom?
Intelligence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because it's a
Nice.
check.
Do I still get my intelligence modifier plus
Yeah.
proficiency?
Yeah.
Okay.
You still add your.
24.
8, 19.
I mean, that's a natural 20. You
Yeah.
get fucking smoked.
Can I show him the drow version of chess? No, there is a drow version of chess.
We are not stabbing each other.
No, that's what the wizards do.
Kendra, you come down. You just see everyone enjoying their time. You don't quite
Kicking
see
Lyle's
where.
ass.
You don't see where John and Callista are. You look outside.
You know, it's kind of like
see
playing with
these-
someone who's never played the game before.
You see these two shapes and just clouds of smoke by Mr. Pants.
Dude, welcome.
You know what, if
Mr.
Roro was
Pants is
here, I would
vaping
say
it.
you could offer Mr. Roscoe the
Not
immortal
Mr.
goldfish.
Pants.
That's a pet. I keep him crying.
Not Mr. Pants.
You go see Mr. Pants and he's just the same, this weird, dopey looking like head made of straw wrapped in like burlap, crappy little face drawn on it.
I did that.
Oh yeah, it's clearly your hand. Like a little like a Robin Hood hat on top and the feathers sticking off. It's got like an old ratty tunic that's kind of like been picked at by moths and birds, and then this pair of pants, just kind of tied to it, stuffed with straw.
What kind of face does he have?
It's like a stupid smile.
What kind of
Don't
stats does
steal the
pants
hat.
have?
What kind of stats?
What?
It's like, why is his
Why did it
constitution
even-
so
that didn't
high?
even-
Do not
occurred to
steal
me.
from Mr. Pants.
That didn't even occur to me until you
He had the
mentioned it.
Robin Hood hat, and I was like, don't steal the hat.
And you do notice on that, and you do notice John's sunglasses on the Mr. Pants.
Alright.
John and Calista laughing uproariously at this.
You speak with new family.
Yeah.
Mr. Pants. Like you hear him like lightly chanting, Mr. Pants, Mr. Pants, Mr. Pants.
I remain indoors working on my special project.
You see Flank just hunched over something
And
on the
warrior
kitchen
now rests
table.
the night.
What
Right,
are you
a knight is a
doing?
warrior.
I'm whittling a spear tip off of. I'm wearing the head of a spear off. I'm whittling the tip of a spear off. I have a spear that I picked up a long time ago.
Like you're cutting the head off.
Yeah. To get the
Okay.
sharp part.
Sticking the tip off his
Okay. You're pretty much almost done with it. You just and you like clip it off. So
Okay.
it looks like a steak, like a vampire killing steak.
I pulled the glue out.
Okay.
I have my normal helm, my first level helm on the table.
Yep.
You see where I'm going with this?
I see exactly where you're going with this.
Are my fingers still?
No, that wore off days ago.
It wore off already?
It's human skin.
You want your fingers stuck together?
Fine, they're still stuck like you're chopping wood with one arm. You're riding a horse with one arm because your hand is just like this. Your hand is in a permanent okay now. You found the fucking mystical.
The laughing emoji with the okay emoji.
No, it's fine. The adhesion has been removed from your skin at least.
It's been days.
Did it take a lot of effort for the adhesion?
You kind of needed to soak it in some alcohol.
I wanted to see how powerful this adhesive was. I wanted my hands
It
to be
stayed
like-
for at least a handful of hours before you had to soak it in alcohol for an hour.
I dip a bit of the non-pointy side of the spear tip
Okay.
into the ceramic pot of glue and center it gently in the about front middle of my my main helmet.
Okay.
Enough where if I stack the remaining two hats on, it doesn't protrude through them.
Make a dexterity check.
Okay. I mean, fuck. The worst that happens, I have a spike going through two hats.
And then you
Kinda-
stab,
kinda-
and then
kinda
you
would-
stab through your own hand.
Kind of would pin the hats better.
Did you get a 1?
Did you roll a 1?
I rolled a 1.
So as you're centering it, you find it's centered just fine. You use both hands to center it right.
Not
And,
the eye.
as you lean in close to like inspect it, you kind of like it looks fine. It's set. You wait. You count to like 30. You wait, and then you try and pull your hands out, and they're stuck. Your hands are firmly clasped around the spear tip, which is attached to the helm.
And
And
I
it-
watched all
and-
this,
and-
right?
Yeah, and Kendra, this is where you walk in. You see his hands clasped around the spear tip that's holding it and pressing it onto the helm. And you see him try to pull his hands off, and then the whole helm just comes up. And his hands are stuck to the spear tip.
Oh no, he's our only muscle.
Why'd you do this by yourself?
Hi, Kendra. Did you have a nice chat with your father?
Why
How's your father doing these things?
Why are your hands glued to that spear?
Is he the
I try to
Seinfeld
put the hat back on
movie?
my head like this.
It's backwards, so because you're facing it, so just the back part just covers your entire face.
Do
Do you really want to do this?
I'm trying to. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck.
How's it?
Wait, are you wearing the helm right now, like backwards?
It would be covering my face when it.
I mean, are you? Yeah, just how you doing it?
Yeah, I guess I am.
Can I find
Okay,
some
you
alcohol?
press it down, and as you try to pull it off, it's stuck.
Can I pull?
So
find
so
some
not only are your
alcohol?
hands clasped around the spear tip, the spear tip is connected to the helm. The helm is affixed to your head
What? How did?
backwards, so the back part of the helm
You
is
got glue
covering
on
your
everything.
entire face.
I so elegantly dipped the spear.
And you rolled a 1.
I know.
So you didn't do anything elegantly.
No, I did not.
Can I find some fucking alcohol?
Can I mend? No.
No, because
Why
nothing's
don't you?
broken.
Why
Yet.
doesn't John just use
I don't
what's
think
it
that counts
called?
for glue.
Prestidigitation work on
No, because it's not technically cleaning. You
Um,
can't remove adhesion.
I act like there's no problem.
You are effectively blinded at
Can
this
I
point.
find alcohol?
Sure.
He has his jug.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
but
rubbing
it's
out.
attuned to him.
Oh. How long does it take to?
Like an hour.
Oh. All right. Does your?
You also have to
alcohol-
dunk his entire head in alcohol.
You know what?
But yeah, he's fine with that, I'm sure.
Is there any space in between his hands and the helmet?
His
Would we
hands.
be able to cut
Yeah,
the spear
can't I get
off?
at least his hands off the helmet?
You could. I would say you could at least get the helm off his head by cutting his hair.
No.
I can't see anything, I guess, so everything's fine. This will wear off in
Would
a
we be able
while.
to cut the
I
spear
tested
off?
it.
And then just his hands are attached.
You
to
guys
the
notice
spear?
this? I'll say yes, but his hand is close to the edge of the helm. So if you were to cut it off, there might be some risk in doing
Is
it.
that
Who has good
dex?
dexterity? Oh, me. No.
No metagaming.
Yeah,
Right now,
yeah.
it's flank. Currently, who is watching in the room is Flank, Damaris,
Can we see
Lau,
from the porch?
Kendra.
Yeah. Like, because he and I are playing chess or whatever.
Actually, yeah. In this context, it's
So
only
it's the-
Kendra who sees this.
I
You have
Guys!
good dex.
using my
What?
You can do it.
Okay.
I try to move out.
Can I...
Try to
So
cut
could
the-
I, like, use the alcohol to get his hands out?
When you had to do it the first time with his fingers glued, it took about an hour of soaking.
Try to cut the spear off.
No, I start backing out of the room. I try to find my way out.
Well, I
You
cut
just
off your
bang
hair.
up against the wall,
I cut
bang
off-
up against another wall.
He's
Cut
gonna
off
get
the
stuck to
spear,
a
I
wall.
cut off your hair. Pick which one.
I take neither, and I try to escape the room.
It's gonna be a flank shaped hole.
you-
on the
I wanna,
door.
like, grab-
You run as fast as possible and then just wham into a wall and your back is on the ground.
Wait,
Do we
no,
hear
let
this?
me roll for it.
Do we hear this?
You
Oh.
can't see anything.
Okay, make and
It's a small room, and I can probably figure out like distance-wise, like the door. I'm
make an
assuming.
acrobatics check with disadvantage because you are blinded.
Nice.
Just took a little short.
Actually, no. A blinded creature can't see and automatically fails any ability check that requires sight. Running out of the room requires sight,
Okay,
so you instantly fail.
I run in a direction.
You hit a wall and your ground. You hit a wall and your back slams on the ground.
I get up and run into a different direction.
You hit a wall and your back slams on the
Can
ground.
we hear this?
Yes, at this point, everyone just hears dunk, dunk, dunk,
Someone's
dunk.
Dude, John, do you hear
Alright.
that? They're having a party without us.
I continue doing this until something different happens.
That's a mark of insanity.
Once
Is
it falls
status
over,
effect?
Technically, yes, but not right now.
Oh.
John and Callista, and now Damaris and Lau, you all walk into the house and see
Hold on,
a blinded dwarf with his hands glued to a spear point on his head, running around, ramming into everything.
What did you do?
Well, the better image would have been he's already on the floor and I'm on top of him so that I can try to cut off his hair or something.
Oh my god, it's like that one, it's like that post where it's just like, your partner's hanging from the ceiling and you have a broom and you're like trying to like get them off and they're both screaming.
What happened?
You were literally just playing a game. What game is this?
Is my mouth not glued together?
No, your mouth is fine. You can talk. It's kind of tinny and echoey because it's blocked by the back of the.
Damaris, is that you? Damaris, Kindra's gone crazy. She's trying to cut my hat.
Dude, this is
Just take it off.
He glued it on!
Why did you glue your helmet on?
It wasn't intentional.
Because no one was watching him!
This was a dangerous project. It's
Oh my
fine.
God, we
It's
leave
fine.
Frank alone for 10 minutes.
I'm more protected now than ever.
You can't see.
We need to either
you
cut
look
off the spear or cut off his hair, and he won't let me do either.
What if we just pull really hard?
You technically can.
That sounds crazy enough to work, Damaris.
You're okay with...
Oh, he likes that idea.
Okay.
Guess we'll fucking try it then.
Alright, who's gonna do it?
Can we make sure the glue is
Have John do
dry?
it.
Like, the glue's all dry.
You check it, yeah, the glue is dry.
Okay, because we're not gonna
Have
grab
John.
it and we end up getting
John's the strong one. He's the only other one.
I'm strong too.
I mean, we give it a few days and my skin will shed like a snake. I mean,
Alright.
that's how it works.
So, John, Damaris, and Flank, I need you all to make strength checks.
Athletics.
I
is
get my
strength.
phone out and
Just
I
strength.
record this.
I'm so sorry, John.
What?
I rolled a 1.
Oh god, his hands get stuck
Anyway.
too!
No. This is a strength check, not a
17.
dexterity one.
Strength, yes.
Yeah, the glue is dried already.
Wait, no, I have a. Don't I have modifiers?
It doesn't
It's
matter.
a 1.
It doesn't matter.
11.
Okay.
11.
I did 17.
You got 17?
John, as you reach for it, Flank kind of shakes a little bit, and it causes you to trip forward. So your hand, just as you reach forward, just what little left is exposed to the spear tip. Your hand just whack goes through it. Kendra, you see John hand, and then boop, a little bit of spear.
Where's
goes
Roscoe in all this?
upstairs, and he's coming downstairs at the sound of screaming. You take 4 points of piercing damage, which is fine.
God.
Someone
But-
put that gif
but-
of Donald Glover walking into the apartment and everything's on fire with and he's holding pizza.
Wait, so which damage die does my spirit tip helmet get now? D6?
We'll talk about it. Okay, so John, you pull back, blood raining out from your hand like you're fucking Jesus of Nazareth. You're screaming. Kendra's screaming.
He's high. He's probably like, oh god.
Just like, dude.
Damaris and Flank, you manage to, with both of your might, tug as hard as possible. Flank, this fucking hurts. But you hear just as the helm comes off, and just you just see a patch of nothing, just skin on the top of your head.
He's so
skin,
lucky he has a hat.
and there's a brief pause before just blood starts pooling
How is
on top
that
of your
better
head.
than cutting your hair?
You still
I
have
thought
your
I was
scalp.
pulling my hand off the spear tip.
You still have your scalp, but you rip your hair out with such force that you take
Oh my god.
8 points of force damage.
Can Lau mend his head?
I'm dying.
No.
I'm gonna lay on hands.
Okay, you're laying on hands. You're healed. You're fine,
Fuck.
but you're still missing just like a strip of hair from the top of your head.
A thought occurs to me where I can glue the hair back on my head. Maybe.
No.
Just like comb over.
I
the
wear
front.
hats all the time. It actually doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I just said that.
So so it's off your head. You can see. You're no longer blinded, but your hands are still firmly affixed to the spear tip horn that is now affixed to the helm.
This is better. I'm gonna go scream in a little bit.
You look different.
I take a step outside of the porch and I scream.
You
I
just
scream very loud.
Yep, and just it echoes through this empty field.
Crows just fly out from the tree.
I should have gotten some acetone from the fucking general store.
You
Yes, acetone.
You come back and you finally everyone gets a good look at Flank. It's not even like it doesn't even look like a wax strip took off from like his forehead upward. There is a circular section of hair from the top of his head off.
It's like a crop
Like
circle.
a crop circle on top of his head.
He's like a monk now.
Except he still has this ring of hair that still goes over his brow and over his forehead.
He's a monk.
But there's a circle missing. He looks like a Japanese kappa. I got
Guess we're dying, Squirtle.
And his hands are still firmly affixed to the spear tip, which is firmly affixed to the helm.
We
I
can
wanna
always
take
have
the
a
glue
cup of
away from
ale.
him.
You take the pot away.
No, that's my glue.
No, it
That's
is not your glue.
That's my glue.
It is not your glue
I paid
anymore.
good money for that glue.
This is my glue now.
You can only use it under our supervision.
Yeah.
Oh my
How
You do
dare
not
you?
get to keep this glue anymore. Look what you did!
How dare you bully me around?
Your head is bleeding, Flank.
It's no longer bleeding, but it's still slightly caked with blood.
Your hands are glued to your helmet.
Any intelligent creature could have made the same mistake I have.
John got stabbed.
Oh yeah, you wanna...
Yeah, I want to lay on
Okay. Yeah, what? In between all the screaming, John is still like bleeding profusely with that, but yeah, you...
Yeah, I feel
Use-
up. I got you.
Yeah, lay on hands, you're fine. Roscoe comes down. He kind of assesses the situation and just. And this is the most you've heard him laugh in years and years. This infectious, glowing laugh. Purely at the expense of all of you.
And Kinder's just like,
Dude, your face just immediately explodes in red.
Everyone is hurt and dying, and then he's just laughing at her pain, like, oh.
Sits down, opens up his pizza box, and just starts
I'm
eating.
wrapping John's hand, just judging Flank.
he gets up. He goes outside to like a chest. Roscoe comes back. You see he has like a glass vial, about maybe 30 milliliters, not that big. It has a little bit of a stopper on it. It's clear liquid inside.
He's a carpenter.
He kind of pours it onto Flank's hands. You
We're
feel
idiots.
you feel your grip kind of soften a little bit as the adhesive binding kind of relaxes, and as the solvent sits, it stings a little bit as it sits in your hand, but you're able to kind of pull your hands away, wash your hands, and just kind of shake it off.
thank you, Dad.
This whole time he's laughing, like unendingly laughing. Oh, and I think I was fearing for your safety. You'll be fine, darling. And he just laughs all the way back upstairs.
God.
I put my helmet on properly, the right side forward.
You feel your hair sift back onto your head. It's still stuck to the underside of the
I
helm.
love how this was the reassuring thing for my dad. You're okay. He got his
Like-
fucking head stuck on a goddamn helmet.
We're all idiots, but we take care of each other.
I'm like the rabbit now. I mean the Almirage now.
That was what you wanted the glue for?
That's what he was
As he pointed out, the spear tip just
No!
because of the solvent. It's
No!
so thin. It just
Oh.
Damn it, it's the glue! The
No.
glue!
No.
Get another spear.
Get another glue. I'm gonna buy another glue, and you can't do anything about it.
No. You can't have this glue.
That's why if I will go buy my
I can
another-
easily hold it out of your reach.
What's something that
Wait,
you would think is
is-
disgusting?
Is there any glue
Like to
covering the
drink.
pot?
Excuse
No.
me?
Did any of the glue cover the pot? You know how it makes mess.
Pot?
No.
Oh.
I did make a mess.
No. You said it was dry.
Yeah.
It was dried. By the time he picked it up, it's been dried.
Fuck you. God.
Meanwhile, Diana.
It's like literally been
Getting
crucified
tortured in a fucking
somewhere.
prison.
Let me keep it. There has to be a reward for suffering.
Let my people.
We can fix it properly later.
You don't get rewarded, you just learn.
What
Did we
time
get
is it?
experience for that?
At this point, it is, I want to say, like 7 or 8 at night.
Alright.
It's dark, but it's not late.
Okay,
I
but
say
did
we
get
all go to bed
experience
and
for
leave
that?
in the morning. After what just happened, you get at least a 24-hour ban on this glue.
24 hours?
24 hours.
That's like a day! Wait, I pull out the hourglass.
That's like
Fine.
That is at most 30 minutes.
Just keep
Just keep
Can we
turning.
go buy like a magic hourglass?
You can certainly try.
It's bedtime. Everybody go to bed.
Okay, Dad.
Agreed.
Taking the glue with me.
I'm eyeballing the glue intensely.
So you all make it. You go to your tent. You make it a point to hide the pot of glue, as like you dig a small hole under the tent,
Under my pillow.
under the pillow, bury it, and set your tent on top of it.
Can I ask my dad if he has any locks?
Locks.
Yeah.
Like
You know,
how
like-
big? Like how? Like a padlock?
Yeah,
Like I was saying, like diary lock or like shed lock.
like a chest or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's like, might have one. He like goes around, looks through cases and boxes, and like, yeah, he gives you about like a padlock, pretty much, and a key.
Okay. Hey, Damaris, can I have that glue?
Are you just like standing outside my tent?
Yeah.
No.
I'm gonna lock it in my chest.
I just buried it.
Do I hear this?
No. You don't do this. Unless you are
You know what?
actively spying on Damaris. Are you spying on Damaris?
you can't say no because no, you can't say yes. You can't say yes. My bad.
Why can't I say yes?
Why would you be spying on Damaris?
Yeah.
He wants the glue back.
You know what?
You said
No, I'm not.
You said you were eyeballing the glue, so you're inadvertently
Okay,
eyeballing
fine.
Damaris. So if you want to, you can try and spy on him.
You can make him think that you did. You can rope him
I'm
to
gonna let
spend
you
the
come
evening.
into the tent.
Okay.
I
I'm
gotta
gonna stare at Flank, and I'm gonna zip the
Well,
tent out.
again, you don't know you're being spied
That doesn't
on
look
yet,
wrong.
necessarily. You don't necessarily know you're being spied on yet.
He said he was following me.
Where am I sleeping?
At this point, you can choose
You were
either
sleeping in a
indoors
pile
or
of dirt.
outdoors.
You said you were sleeping in the dirt.
You want to sleep in the dirt.
I'm sleeping on the dirt, and I just stare at Damaris's tent.
Are you trying not to be seen spying?
No, I'm making it made so he notices I'm there.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm not
you
spying.
feel the heat from Flank's glare the whole time you're doing all this.
Like
Yeah.
a spoiled child, I am. This
Yeah.
is my way of
Like a
showing
child
my displeasure.
post tantrum, just silently staring at you.
I'm gonna dig the glue back up.
Okay, you pick it. You undo your entire tent. You dig up the small shallow hole you built. You put the pot of glue in. You hand it over to Kinja. Put it in the chest.
Dust it off and stuff 'cause I don't want. Because it was a nice chest.
It
I
is
don't want to get
very
it all gross.
okay.
So I clean it off and I put it in there and I lock
Okay.
it up.
Okay.
Put that shit in my bag.
Set your tent back up. You still feel even as you it's not a zipper, it's like a button. You button up your tent door. You just feel hot.
Go to sleep.
Stop telling me what to do, Dad.
Maurice.
Fine.
Mommy and Daddy are talking right now.
All right, that's all I wanted. That was my secret project.
And you failed terribly.
The other one was to whittle the driftwood into something else that didn't look like a piece of
Sorry,
corn.
what
But
time are we ending today?
later.
I'll be right with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So after that heated night, you all make your way to sleep one night before you head out to the city under the trees, known as Briarden.
Nothing
And that's what
bad
we're doing today.
happened
Oh.
there. Ah!